Chapter 1864. Killing with a single glance, this mystique was too terrifying. It had to be said that this time, everyone was shocked and frightened. Flame City's remaining elders all couldn't help retreating a few steps. They were afraid that Yang Hanwu would use this supreme eye technique to attack them. "Master, kill this beast." Ho Shenquang was pleasantly surprised to see Yang Hongwu's prowess. He did not expect his master to have such a trick up his sleeve. It seemed like his master had hidden a lot of trump cards during the battle. Powerful, too powerful. Moreover, he was now Yang Hongwu's servant. This was a fact that could not be changed. Moreover, he now knew how powerful Yang Hanwu was and how terrifying his potential was. Perhaps, becoming Yang Hongwu's servant wasn't a bad thing after all. Yang Hanwu, I admit that you're strong. However, if you push us too far, you won't be able to gain any benefits. Why don't we mind our own business and walk our own paths without interfering with each other? How about that? Fiery Immortal Blade said. I've already said that it's impossible. Of course, unless you're willing to be my servant. Otherwise, only death awaits you. Yang Hanwu looked at Fiery Immortal Blade. This fellow was frightened by him from the start. He had long lost his will to fight. For a martial artist, losing his will to fight was the most dangerous thing to do. Especially when facing an enemy, losing one's will to fight meant losing one's vigor. Even if one had an advantage in cultivation, without vigor, it was impossible to win. There were many times when some warriors were at an absolute disadvantage, but they were still able to turn the tables around. They were able to win with fewer people, and they were able to win with the weak. This was because of their determination, their willpower, and more importantly, their fighting spirit. They were willing to fight to the death and fight to the end, and they would definitely win the battle. It was related. At this moment, Fiery Immortal Blade was in a state where he had no will to fight and no desire to win. Even if he was facing someone of the same cultivation realm and strength, he had no chance of winning. Intolerable bullying. Intolerable bullying. Before the Immortal Flame Saber could say anything, the elders next to him were all enraged. Although they were also afraid of death, Yang Hongwu's words were too arrogant. He didn't take them seriously at all. Moreover, according to Yang Hongwu's words, Yang Hanwu would not let him go. Since that was the case, since he knew that he would die, why not fight to the death? Furthermore, there were only 5 of them while they had so many people on their side. In addition, the City Lord had the support of Flame City. If they were to really fight, they might not necessarily lose. That's right, City Lord. Let's fight it out with him. The Fiery Immortal Saber couldn't hold it in any longer. He had already swallowed his pride twice. It could even be said that he was begging for mercy. However, this brat still wouldn't let him go. This was clearly not giving him any face and wanting to fight to the death. Just what do you want? Even so, Inferno Immortal Blade held himself back. Yang Hanwu was particularly surprised. Was this guy a Ninja Turtle? She had already said so, yet he could still hold it in? Not simple. This was truly not simple. What do I want? Yang Hongwu's lips curled into a smile. This smile was filled with killing intent. Looking at this, Fire Immortal Huang knew that things weren't going well. This was bad. This was really killing intent. One had to know that the Inferno Immortal Saber was the key to his contract transfer secret skill. If not for that, he wouldn't have channeled his own source of energy into the Inferno Immortal Saber's body for him to break through. If he were to be killed by Yang Hanwu at this moment, all of his calculations would be for naught. I'm going to kill you. The moment Yang Hongwu's words came out, his body disappeared from where he was. The next time he appeared, he was already before the Inferno Immortal Saber. The Inferno Immortal Saber's face changed. As for Fire Immortal Huang, he wanted to stop him, but there was nothing he could do. Immortal Cloud Strike. Yang Hanwu shouted softly. A powerful and domineering force burst out and instantly bombarded the Inferno Immortal Saber. The Inferno Immortal Saber had already prepared for it. The moment Yang Hanwu appeared before him, the Inferno Immortal Saber moved. His body flashed as he tried to avoid Yang Hanwu's attack. However, Yang Hanwu's speed was simply too fast. Although this attack had avoided his vital parts, one of his arms was still hit by Yang Hanwu. This domineering force sent him flying. The Inferno Immortal Saber crawled up and took a deep breath. With a thought, a majestic spiritual power burst out. The corner of his mouth curled into a smile as he looked at Yang Hanwu and said, "Kid, I thought you were very strong. Seems like this is all there is to it. Although your speed is fast, your attack power is too weak. Although this attack managed to hit me, it only left me with a light injury." Even though this was just a probing attack, the Inferno Immortal Saber could tell that Yang Hanwu wasn't as strong as he had imagined. He wasn't as terrifying and undefeatable as he had imagined. "Everyone, attack together and kill him." The Inferno Immortal Saber had regained his confidence after the previous exchange. He shouted loudly to the people of Flame City behind him. Only Yang Hanwu himself knew that the previous attack had been intentional. This was because during this period of time, Yang Hanwu had already refined a portion of the world seed that he had suppressed in the common people's great world. This meant that he could mobilize a portion of the power of the Divine Flame Mountain. Although this place was still some distance away from the Divine Flame Mountain, it was already within the range of the Divine Flame Mountain. The nomological power of the Divine Flame Mountain could envelop this place. As the city lord of the Flame City, the Inferno Immortal Saber could indeed mobilize the power of the Flame City. However, compared to the nomological power of the Divine Flame Mountain, the nomological power of the Flame City wasn't worth mentioning. Even if it was truly within the Flame City, the nomological power of the Divine Flame Mountain could still completely crush the Flame City. Even if Ho Shenquang and the other two mobilized the origin source and nomological power of the Flame Continent, they still wouldn't be able to compare to the nomological power of the mysterious world seed in the Divine Flame Mountain. This was the difference in level. The suppression brought about by the difference in level between planes. The plane level of the Flame Continent was at most equivalent to a deity plane. However, the level of this mysterious world seed was too high. Yang Hanwu even guessed that the level of this world seed was comparable to the inner world of the self-defense Divine Hall Master. Chapter 1865. Yang Hanwu couldn't help but laugh. Trying to sneak an attack on him? That was impossible. You want to kill me with that little ability of yours? You must be dreaming. Yang Hanwu laughed and punched out fiercely. It was an incomparably tyrannical punch. The power of the punch was as strong as a mountain. In an instant, the fire immortal saber that was sneakily attacking him was sent flying. His saber was also instantly destroyed by Yang Hanwu. What a great saber! It's a pity that it's in your hands. It's like casting pearls before swine. Yang Hanwu looked at the saber that he had snatched and sighed. It was a great saber. It wasn't much worse than his own Hongmeng saber. Of course, if his Hongmeng saber were to be upgraded again, it would be upgraded again. However, at the very least, this battle saber could still be compared to the Hongmeng saber at the moment. Damn it. The Inferno Immortal Blade had launched a sneak attack and was sent flying in a single move. This left the Inferno Immortal Blade extremely depressed. Not only was he sent flying, but his battle blade was also taken away. Only then did he realize that the gap between him and Yang Hanwu was just too huge. Initially, he thought that Yang Hanwu's attack didn't cause much damage to him. But now, he knew the gap between them. This young man was extremely strong. He didn't know how strong he was. At least, he was far from being a match for him. Who are you? The fiery immortal saber shouted. Who am I? Yang Hanwu chuckled. That's not important. What's important is that you can die now. Having said that, Yang Hanwu was about to attack. Hold on. At this moment, Fire God Huang spoke. Master, it's a pity to kill this guy. Why don't you let him be my follower and work for you? Fire God Huang wasn't stupid. If the fiery immortal saber was killed, not only would his plan fail, he wouldn't be able to get his origin energy back. Wouldn't that be a huge loss? Therefore, he had to stop Yan Hanwu from killing the fire immortal saber. Under normal circumstances, the immortal fire blade would never have agreed. He would have even scolded Lin Fan directly. However, at this moment, the immortal fire blade no longer had the courage to speak. He didn't want to die. Now that this guy had spoken, he wouldn't give up even if there was a glimmer of hope. As for becoming Fire God Huang's follower, it was nothing to him. Fire God Huang was no match for him. Even if Fire God Huang recovered his cultivation, he wouldn't be much stronger than him. Furthermore, for the Inferno Immortal Saber, survival was the most important thing right now. Everything else had to be cast aside. You want him to be your attendant? When Yan Hanwu heard the Fire God Huang's words, he squinted his eyes and looked at him. This guy seemed to have some ideas. Yan Hanwu could tell that he didn't want the Fire Immortal Blade to die. Meanwhile, Yan Hanwu unleashed his eye technique onto the Fire Immortal Saber and the Fire Godly Emperor. With this, all the secrets of the Fire Immortal Saber and the Fire God Huang were exposed to Yan Hanwu. To his surprise, he realized that the Fire God Huang's origin was being transferred to the Fire Immortal Saber bit by bit. This scene left Yan Hanwu flabbergasted. Not simple. This was really not simple. There was a huge secret between the Fire God Huang and the Fire Immortal Saber. This huge secret was also the reason why the Fire God Huang didn't want Lin Fan to kill the Fire Immortal Saber. Yes, young master. If you have a sovereign like the Fire Immortal Saber as your attendant, things will be much faster for you. The Fire God Huang said. At this moment, he was extremely worried. If Yan Hanwu was enraged and killed the Fire Immortal Saber, things would be bad. The problem now was that the Fire Immortal Saber couldn't escape from this place. If he could, that would be great. However, the Fire God Huang realized that this space had been sealed. Just like before, they were sealed in a small space by Yan Hanwu. In this space, Yan Hanwu was the only god, the only ruler. In this small space, he was invincible. You're my servant. A servant wants a follower? Yan Hanwu said coldly. Also, do you really think that I can't see through your little tricks? Hearing Yan Hanwu's words, the Fire God Huang's expression changed slightly. His heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Yan Hanwu had seen through his secret technique? No, that's impossible. His secret technique was extremely powerful. Moreover, before it was completed, he wouldn't reveal it. Even if his cultivation had surpassed the sovereign realm, he wouldn't be able to see through it. Young master, I don't know what you're talking about. I wouldn't dare to act smart in front of you. The Fire God Huang quickly said. Don't you want to talk about your relationship with the Fire Immortal Saber? Yan Hanwu asked. Young master, I don't want to see you kill the Fire Immortal Saber. In fact, the Fire Immortal Saber is a genius that I nurtured myself. He's like my own son. Of course, I don't want to see him die like this. However, he has offended you and deserves to die. However, I hope that you can give me some face. Moreover, the Fire Immortal Saber is a decent genius with outstanding abilities. If he helps you, many things will be much easier. The Fire God Huang paused for a moment before continuing. Moreover, you can't stay in Flame City forever. As such, Flame City needs a spokesperson. The Fire Immortal Saber is just right for the job. After all, he didn't get to the main point. He didn't explain the true relationship between the Fire Immortal Saber and him. The Fire God Huang's words were 30% true and 70% false. How could Yan Hanwu not understand? Are you done? Yan Hanwu said coldly. Hearing Yan Hanwu's tone, the Fire God Huang was shocked. Did I make a mistake in my words? Did Yan Hanwu notice something? No, that's impossible. The Fire God Huang was very nervous. He was worried that Yan Hanwu would really kill the Fire Immortal Saber. Young master. If you're done, then die. A servant should have the awareness of being a servant. After saying that, Yan Hanwu raised his right hand and condensed a terrifying light ball. This light ball contained a destructive power. The fire god Huang felt the threat of death, and the fire immortal saber was the same as the fire immortal saber. Both of them felt the aura of death in this light ball. If they were hit by it, they would definitely die. Chapter 1866. What's going on? Inferno Immortal Blade was shocked. He had not expected his body to go out of control, especially the energy in his body. However, Inferno Immortal Blade was a city lord after all. How could someone who could grow to such an extent be a fool? If he still couldn't figure out that he had been tricked, he would be an idiot. To think that I, the city lord of Flame City, would be reduced to a pawn. Inferno Immortal Blade could feel the energy in his body going out of control. He realized that he had lost control of his soul as well. He knew that today would be his doomsday. Inferno Immortal Huang did not say anything. The moment Yang Hongwu's light ball hit him, he transferred his soul to Inferno Immortal Blade, and his physical body was instantly detonated by him. He detonated his physical body, releasing a shocking amount of energy towards Yang Hongwu. This was his last resort. After successfully controlling Inferno Immortal Blade's physical body, he did not stop. He did not expect that the explosion of his physical body could injure or even kill Yang Hongwu. The possibility was too slim. Run, run! Inferno Immortal Huang did not hesitate to run away. Only by running away could he have a chance of survival. What a supreme secret skill! Yang Hongwu squinted his eyes. This secret skill was extremely powerful. To think that it could transfer the servant contract directly. One should know that the servant contract could not be removed even if one gave up their physical body for possession, unless one had unparalleled strength. Only with absolute strength could it be possible to remove the contract. However, Fire God Huang had actually managed to do it. He didn't have the strength to forcefully remove the contract. Instead, he had used a secret technique, a powerful secret technique, to remove his servant contract after possession. Looking at the back of Inferno Immortal Blade, no, Inferno Immortal Huang, Yang Hongwu squinted his eyes. He was too naive to think that he could escape. However, Yang Hongwu did not stop him. If Yang Hongwu wanted to, he could have sealed the space and brought Inferno Immortal Huang back. Ho Shenquang, the Dark Night Goddess, and the others were bewildered by the sudden turn of events. Ho Shenquang? Only when Yang Hongwu spoke did Ho Shenquang and the others regain their senses. Young Master, Ho Shenquang was truly afraid that Yang Hongwu would take his anger out on him. He had naturally felt everything that Ho Shenhuang had done, but he had never thought that Ho Shen's saber would become his chess piece and be possessed by him. The fire god Yellow broke the servant contract. Do you know what kind of secret technique it was? Yang Hongwu asked. In fact, Yang Hongwu guessed that Ho Shenquang probably didn't know about it. If he did, he probably would have used it too. After all, no one wanted to be someone else's slave and have their life and death controlled by someone else. Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Ho Shenquang instantly panicked. He hurriedly said, Young Master, I don't know. I don't know where you learned such a strange technique. Seeing Ho Shenquang so nervous, Yang Hongwu patted his shoulder and said, Don't worry, I'm just asking. It's not a big deal if you don't know. I won't kill you just because you don't know. Thank you, young master. Ho Shenquang breathed a sigh of relief after hearing Yang Hongwu's words. He really didn't want to die. If he wasn't afraid of death, he wouldn't have agreed to become Yang Hongwu's servant. Let's go to Flame City. Let's see what gave Ho Shenhuang the confidence to betray me. Yang Hongwu looked in the direction of Flame City, his eyes shining brightly. Flame City. Although it was not a large city, and even the Flame Continent was only an ordinary world, it was not a big city. However, Yang Hongwu felt that if he wanted to refine Flame City and the Flame Continent, the mysterious world seed he obtained would undergo unexpected changes. His karmic fire of the Red Lotus would also be greatly enhanced. Flame City would also be his first stop on the path to dominating Skyspan. Although Yang Hongwu didn't have the determination to control Skyspan, that didn't mean he didn't want to try. Although he wanted to leave as soon as possible, it wasn't impossible to leave a few servants behind to control Skyspan. If possible, he really wanted to devour the entire Skyspan, devour and refine it. However, he was worried that he'd arouse the displeasure of the Giga Divine Hall Master, or even cause Giga to attack him. That wouldn't be good. Giga's strength wasn't something he could deal with right now. Yang Hanwu estimated that if Giga really did attack him, he could probably kill him with a thought. Even the mysterious power in his body wouldn't be able to save him. Therefore, it was best to dispel this thought as soon as possible. As for controlling Skyspan, that wasn't a big deal. For an expert at Giga's level, as long as it didn't escape his control, it was fine. Soon, the group of 4 arrived at the outskirts of the Flame City. Looking at the majestic city in front of him and its towering walls, Yang Hanwu couldn't help but sigh. Flame City was indeed much more prosperous and powerful than Anya City. Flame City contained a powerful force. That was the source of Flame City's power. If this force were to erupt, it would definitely be able to kill an ordinary sovereign. Flame City is completely devoid of life, Yang Hanwu said. Hu Shenquang's face was ashen. As one of the ancestors of Flame City, he naturally sensed the changes in Flame City. That damned beast, he's actually so perverse. What do you mean? Anya Shen and Huateng didn't know what had happened in Flame City to cause such expressions on their faces. Flame City is already a dead city, Yang Hanwu said. Hua Shenhuang's strength has already reached its peak. I'm going to kill him. Hu Shenquang roared. Ha, you're here. Hua Shenhuang appeared on top of the city walls. The gates of Flame City opened, and Hua Shenhuang's figure appeared. His aura was extremely powerful and wild. Beneath his feet was a throne built from piles of corpses. Hua Shenhuang had completely turned into a demon. He'd turned Flame City into a dead city. Chapter 1867. Bastard. Why do I have such a brother? What a sin! Hu Shenquang shouted. He glared at Hu Shenhuang, but there was nothing he could do. The current Hu Shenhuang wasn't someone he could deal with. His strength had reached a terrifying level, not to mention his cultivation base. Even if he was at his peak, he wouldn't be a match for him. If I knew this day would come, I wouldn't have saved you. Big brother, you're my big brother. It's not too late to submit to me. Hu Shenhuang said. Arrogant. Do you really think you're invincible just because your cultivation base has improved? Yang Hanwu looked at Hu Shenhuang and snorted. This guy was too arrogant. However, Yang Hanwu had to admit that Hu Shenhuang was cold-blooded. Everyone in Flame City was killed by him. He didn't even leave a single living thing alive. How cold-blooded could he be to do that? If it were him, the enemy of Flame City would also not be able to completely exterminate all life in Flame City and wipe them out completely. Whether I'm invincible or not, I don't know. However, I can still kill all of you. Kid, if you're willing to submit to me, I can make you my servant. Hu Shenhuang looked at Yang Hanwu and said. In Hu Shenhuang's heart, this guy forcefully took him in as his servant. This time, he wanted to take Yang Hanwu in as his servant. Of course, if Yang Hanwu didn't agree, he would kill him. The current fire god Huang was brimming with confidence. His immense power made him look down on everything, not putting anyone in his eyes. What a joke! Yang Hanwu said. A demon who has lost his sense of self dares to say such arrogant words in front of me. You really don't know how high the heavens are. Yang Hanwu's body emitted a strong aura. His entire body was covered in a layer of golden light. This was the supreme righteous Qi, the purest energy in the world. This energy was the nemesis of all evil people. It was the nemesis of all demonic cultivators. As for the fire god Yellow, he had already turned into a demon, and his body was filled with boundless karma. When Yang Hanwu released this kind of aura, the fire god Yellow was extremely disgusted. As a demon, it was natural for him to loathe righteous energy, especially since Yang Hanwu had the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. The karmic fire of the Red Lotus was even more effective against people with karma. It just so happened that the fire god Yellow Emperor had massacred all the living beings in the Flame City. The negative karma in his body was naturally incomparably terrifying. Little bastard, you are courting death. In that case, I will grant your wish. Do you really think that I'm still the old me? Today, I will kill you first before killing them. As he spoke, Fire God Huang attacked. His entire body was covered by a layer of terrifying demonic chi, turning into a ferocious giant demon. With ferocious eyes, he pounced on Yang Hanwu. Wherever the sharp claws went, everything was destroyed and shattered. Seeing this, Huo Shenquang was shocked and shouted, "Be careful! Everyone, back off! You guys back off first. I will deal with him." Yang Hanwu said to Anya Shenv, Huo Teng, and the other two beside him. "You! Be careful." Anya Shenv knew that Yang Hanwu must have the ability to protect himself if he dared to do this. Hence, he nodded and turned around to leave. Huo Tang and Huo Shenquang retreated as well. They did not have the ability to defend against such a terrifying attack from the fire god Yellow Emperor. Demon Vanquishing Finger. Yang Hongwu's eyes shone with a cold light as he gathered his spiritual power. He raised his right hand slightly, and a gigantic finger appeared in front of him. With a single finger, the demonic chi was extinguished wherever it went. The dense demonic aura instantly dissipated under the golden finger. Red Lotus Karmic Fire, go! Karmic fire burn the heavens. Yang Hanwu roared again, and a ball of fire burst out, covering the entire sky. This was the karmic fire, the Red Lotus Karmic Fire, which could burn all karmic power. When it came into contact with someone with heavy karmic power, it would burn even more fiercely, unable to be extinguished. Furthermore, the fire god Yellow Emperor's karma was already very high. Furthermore, he had destroyed the entire Flame City. As such, his karma had reached a terrifying level. The Red Lotus Karmic Fire was like adding oil to a fire. It would burn even more fiercely, unable to be extinguished. Humph, you want to burn me to death with a mere karmic fire? What a joke! However, the fire god Yellow Emperor was very powerful now. Although the Red Lotus Karmic Fire was terrifying, the Red Lotus Karmic Fire was too weak now. The Red Lotus Karmic Fire was not enough to kill the fire god Yellow Emperor. The fire god Yellow Emperor opened his mouth and spat out a black demonic chi. The moment the demonic chi landed on the karmic fire wilted. Then, the fire god Yellow Emperor dodged, avoiding the powerful karmic fire. Little bastard, your karmic fire is really terrifying. Now I understand why the people of Flame City couldn't even withstand a single blow from you. It's because of the karmic fire. The karmic fire is known as the king of all fires. How could an ordinary divine fire harm you? Huo Shenhuang narrowed his eyes and stared at Yang Hanwu. If it was in the past, he would be somewhat afraid. However, his strength was no longer the same as before. Not only did he recover his cultivation, but he also received a huge boost on top of the support from the Flame City's origin energy. Now, even if he couldn't suppress a late Sovereign Realm expert, he wouldn't be weak. Yang Hongwu's strength was far from that level. So what if he had the karmic fire? If he didn't care, he could still kill him. A genius who hadn't matured was nothing. At this moment, the fire god Yellow Emperor's eyes flickered with boundless greed. Not only did he want to kill Yang Hanwu, but he also wanted to steal his opportunity, his luck, and the supreme treasures on his body. Yang Hanwu, a mere divine emperor, was able to fight against a Sovereign Realm expert. He could even kill an ordinary Sovereign Realm expert. Other than the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, he must have other powerful trump cards. Of course, luck was one of them. As long as he could kill Yang Hanwu, his luck would rise to an unprecedented level. Of course, he also knew that if he wasn't careful, he might suffer a terrifying backlash. However, he wasn't afraid now because he wasn't cultivating the Tao anymore. He was cultivating the Tao of the Devil. He had entered the Tao of the Devil. He knew it clearly. Chapter 1868. Just you? Yang Hongwu's eyes were filled with disdain. I admit that there are people who can kill me in the sky-reaching continent, but it's definitely not you. Yang Hanwu was extremely confident when he said that. The sky-reaching continent was a mysterious place. There were as many strong cultivators as there were clouds in the sky. For example, the sky-reaching ruler was extremely strong and terrifying. However, Fire God Huang couldn't possibly be the only one who could kill him, even if he had turned into a devil, even if his cultivation base had become extremely strong. It was still impossible. Can't kill you? Fire God Huang snorted coldly. His eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. He moved extremely quickly, reaching the limit of what an ordinary emperor could see with the naked eye. His terrifying aura enveloped the entire flame city. A heaven-devouring giant demon moved. It opened its ferocious mouth and bit towards Yang Hanwu. This mouth could devour the heavens and earth. The giant demon released a terrifying suction force from its mouth, swallowing everything around it. Nothing could resist the suction force. Fire God Kuang and the others' faces changed. They were far away, but they could not resist the suction force. They were getting closer and closer to the giant demon's mouth. If this continued, they would not be able to resist the suction force. They would be devoured by the giant demon that Fire God Huang had transformed into. Only Yang Hongwu's face remained unchanged. Looking at the ferocious giant demon, Yang Hanwu did not care at all. 9 Heavens Fortune Evil Slayer Grand Array. Yang Hanwu yelled out softly. With a wave of his right hand, a scroll appeared. This was the Scroll of Good Fortune. The moment it appeared, it exploded with an unparalleled amount of power. A huge array shot up into the sky. This was the 9 Heavens Fortune Evil Slayer Grand Array. The power of fortune was the nemesis of evil. In addition, Yang Hanwu used the Scroll of Fortune as the eye of the array. Not only that, but Yang Hanwu also used the Fortune Divine Tree. The Scroll of Good Fortune and the Divine Tree of Fortune were one of Yang Hongwu's trump cards. Now, in order to deal with the Fire God Huang, Yang Hanwu had no choice but to use his 2 trump cards. The moment Yang Hanwu activated the array formation, the giant devil was trapped. That terrifying devouring power was instantly stopped. Damn it! What kind of formation is this? It can actually stop me? Fire God Huang's expression changed greatly. He roared, "Little bastard, do you think this array can stop me? No, that's impossible. My strength is beyond your imagination. I'm invincible." With a furious roar, the Fire God Yellow crazily attacked the devil-slaying grand formation laid out by Yang Hanwu. However, if Yang Hongwu's array formation could be broken so easily, then it wouldn't be the 9 Heavens Fortune Evil Slayer Grand Array. Fire God Huang, it doesn't matter if you become a demon or not. In the end, you are still my defeated opponent and my servant. This is something that cannot be changed. If I want you to die, you must die. No one can stop me. Yang Hanwu laughed and loudly said, "This is destined. No one can stop it." Yang Hanwu laughed and loudly said, "This is destined. Not even the Tao can change it." Having said that, Yang Hanwu activated the array formation. The power of fortune exploded, instantly forming a huge devil-slaying saber. Devil-slaying saber of the Great Tao. This is impossible. Fire God Huang's face changed when he saw the massive war blade in the void. Rumor had it that there was a terrifying saber in the myriad of worlds. This saber was harmless to ordinary people. However, it was extremely terrifying to devils. It was the devil-slaying saber of the Great Tao. Once the devil-slaying saber of the Great Tao was unleashed, no devil could withstand it. Only the legendary Undying Tao demon would be able to withstand it. A demon that even the Tao couldn't kill. However, he was just a giant devil. How could he withstand the devil-slaying saber of the Great Tao? The moment the devil-slaying saber appeared, his soul trembled. Fake. This must be fake. The giant devil that Fire God Huang transformed into roared. His sharp claws clawed at the devil-slaying saber. So what if it's the devil-slaying saber? Even if it's the devil-slaying saber, I'll destroy it. I'm invincible. I'm indestructible. Indestructible? Invincible? Yang Hanwu chuckled. No one in the great thousand cosmos would dare to say that they were invincible and immortal. Even Jigu, the lord of Jigu Divine Hall, would not dare to say that he was invincible and immortal. A mere ruler that had turned into a demon dared to be so arrogant. Wasn't he courting death by saying that he was invincible and indestructible? Since you're indestructible, I'll destroy you. As soon as Yan Hanwu said that, the demon-slaying blade in the array formation burst forth with a dazzling light. The sharp claws of the fire god Yellow that had transformed into a troll instantly dissipated under that light. Damn it! Fire god Huang shrieked. The claws were formed from his origin source. Now that they were dissipated, it naturally caused him great damage. Die! Yang Hanwu wouldn't give fire god Huang any time to breathe. The devil-slaying saber slashed at fire god Huang once again. Fire god Huang sensed that something was wrong and wanted to dodge. However, if he could dodge the devil-slaying saber, would it still be the devil-slaying saber that could slay all demons? Fire god Huang couldn't dodge it. He heard a crisp crack. The blade landed on the body of the fire god Yellow's giant devil form. In an instant, the terrifying giant devil was cut into two halves. Although the giant devil was slain, it didn't mean that fire god Huang was dead. The devil-slaying saber had only slain the demonic origin source within fire god Huang's body. In other words, the demon within his body had been slashed out. The pure demonic origin source was devoured by Yang Hanwu using the devouring furnace. This demonic origin source was extremely helpful to Yang Hanwu. It allowed Yang Hanwu's cultivation to rise by a small level. Yang Hanwu's aura rose as a result. As for fire god Huang, his demonic origin was severed and he returned to his original appearance. However, his aura was weak and his cultivation had dropped drastically. At this moment, he no longer had the aura of a ruler. He was just a mere god-emperor martialist. Moreover, he was severely injured. Compared to before, his aura was like heaven and earth. He was just like an ant now. After his demonic origin source was slashed, fire god Huang's consciousness was completely awakened. He had lost his original ambition. He looked at Yang Hanwu and smiled bitterly in his heart. He was very clear about the grave sins he had committed. The entire Flame City had been destroyed by him. His sins were grave. Chapter 1869. Of course I'll kill you. Yang Hanwu did not hesitate and pointed his finger. Fire god Huang wanted to dodge the attack. Although he had regained his consciousness and was no longer under the control of the demonic nature, he did not want to die. He could not help but dodge when Yang Hanwu was about to kill him. However, he was already heavily injured. Moreover, how could he possibly dodge Yang Hanwu's attack when he was in the middle of the formation? This finger instantly pierced through his glabella, and even his soul was completely destroyed by this finger. Hushin Kuang couldn't bear to see Hushin Huang die. After all, Hushin Huang was his younger brother. Now, he was the only one left from the fiery continent with his two brothers. After slaying the fire god emperor, a lot of merit points fell from the void. Yang Hanwu was shocked. Merit points. He did not expect that killing fire god Huang would give him merit points. In fact, Yang Hanwu did not care about the so-called merit points. However, Hushin Kuang was envious of the merit points that were bestowed upon him. Merit points. This is merit points. Congratulations, young master. It's just some merit points. Yang Hanwu asked when he saw Hushin Kuang's shock. What's there to be envious of? Yang Hanwu could see that Hushin Kuang was envious. Young master, you may not know this, but it is very difficult to gain merit in the sky-reaching land. The more merit you have, the easier it will be for you to pass the path to heaven. If you have a lot of bad karma and no merit, you will encounter a terrifying test. Vulcan Kuang said, let's put it this way. After entering the path of heavenly ascension, those who don't have merit but have great karma may encounter life and death crises casually on the road. However, those who have merit are different. They seem to be favored by the path of heavenly ascension. Not only will they not encounter life and death crises, but they will also it is easy to obtain benefits and opportunities. Yang Hanwu was surprised. He did not expect such an interesting thing to happen in the path to heaven. Karma and merit. It was easy to obtain karma, but it was not easy to obtain merit. Doesn't that mean that if you have enough merit, it'll be easy to pass the path to heaven? Anya Shenv asked. Huo Shenquang shook his head and said, it's not that easy. Even though virtuous people would have a smooth journey on the path, it's definitely not an easy task. Virtuous people would only have an easy time passing the first stage. Once you enter the second stage, everyone will be at the same starting line again. However, it doesn't mean that those who have more merit won't need to take the test. It's still very far away. Yang Hanwu said, let's go. Let's enter Flame City and take a look. There are some things I need in Flame City. Huo Shenquang hesitated for a moment, but didn't say anything. He was worried that what Yang Hanwu wanted was the source of Flame City. That wouldn't be good. However, he didn't know. If Yang Hanwu really wanted to seize the source energy of Flame City, he didn't know how to stop him. Right now, he was only Yang Hongwu's servant. His life and death was in Yang Hongwu's hands. He had no way to stop Yang Hanwu. He sighed deeply. If Flame City's source was taken away, it would mean that the connection between Flame City and Flame Continent would be severed. It would mean that no one from Flame Continent would come to Flame City. This was something he did not want to see. Everyone in the Flame City had been killed by his younger brother, Fire God Huang. If the Flame City source was taken away, then it would be over. Moreover, the Flame Continent would also be implicated, and the source of the Flame Continent would be damaged. After all, they knew that Flame City and Flame Continent were closely connected. If Flame City was destroyed, it would have a huge impact on Flame Continent. After all, Sky-reaching Continent was much more advanced than Flame Continent. Flame Continent could be upgraded through Flame City. In Flame Continent, there was a divine palace. That divine palace was connected to Flame City on Sky-reaching Continent. This meant that cultivating in that divine palace was the same as absorbing the spiritual energy of Flame City. In this way, one's cultivation would naturally be much faster. If the connection was severed, then the divine palace on Flame Continent would be like an ordinary divine palace. It would have no meaning. What a powerful source of Flame City. After Yang Hanwu entered Flame City, he realized that there was no trace of life in the entire city. It was too clean. Nothing was left. He knew very well that everything had been devoured and refined by Hua Shenhuang. This was also why Yang Hanwu could increase his cultivation base by a lot after killing Hua Shenhuang and refining his source. Even the strength of the Flame Lotus had increased once again. However, what Yang Hanwu hoped for the most was that the world seed could be completely refined by him and merged into the common people's world. However, this wasn't an easy task. After such a long time, Yang Hanwu had only refined a portion of it. He could only use a portion of the Divine Flame Mountain's power. However, this was Flame City. Naturally, he couldn't use the power of the Divine Flame Mountain. If he could use the power of the Divine Flame Mountain in Flame City, it would be much easier for him to deal with Hua Shenhuang. After entering Flame City, the World Seed released a strand of information. This information was a desire for something in Flame City. The entire Flame City was now under Yang Hongwu's Supreme Eye technique. Nothing could escape Yang Hongwu's discerning eyes. Under Flame City's City Lord Mansion, an ancient underground palace appeared before Yang Hongwu. Yang Hanwu waved his hand and a passageway appeared in the void. This passageway led directly to the underground city. This Flame City actually has another paradise? Hu Teng's eyes widened in disbelief. After all, he was also a member of Flame City. He had never known that there was an underground city under the City Lord Mansion. Hu Teng wasn't the only one surprised. Huo Shenquang was also very surprised. He knew about this underground city. However, he hadn't expected that Yang Hanwu would find the entrance without asking him. Chapter 1870. There's nothing strange about it. Yang Hanwu waved his hand and looked at Hushin Kuang. If it wasn't for his supreme eye technique, he wouldn't have been able to find this place. Yang Hanwu didn't believe that Hushin Kuang didn't know about this underground city. However, he didn't want to. He didn't want to tell himself. Young master, this place is very dangerous. When Hushin Kuang saw Yang Hanwu looking at him, he naturally knew that Yang Hanwu wasn't satisfied with him. After all, he was the old ancestor of Blazing City. There was another city under Blazing City. Generally speaking, it was impossible for him not to know about it. Ho Shenquang hesitated for a moment before speaking. Yes, as the ancestor of Flame City, this underground city might be dangerous, but it shouldn't be able to stop you, right? Yan Hanwu said. Ho Shenquang smiled bitterly and shook his head. Young master, I won't hide it from you. I'm the only one who knows about Flame City's underground city. Even my two brothers don't know about it. This place wasn't built by me, it already existed when Flame City was built. I was the same. I accidentally entered this place once, but I almost couldn't get out that time. Since then, I haven't entered this place again. In fact, Wo Shenquang did want to explore this underground city, but he couldn't enter it. It seemed like a special method, or a special opportunity, was needed to enter the city. This time, Ho Shenquang was surprised that Yang Hanwu could enter this place so easily. However, he really didn't want to enter this place. Even though he was a sovereign now, he still didn't have the confidence to enter. Therefore, he didn't want to take the risk. Naturally, he didn't want Yang Hanwu to enter the city and take the risk. After all, his life was in Yang Hanwu's hands. If Yang Hanwu died, as a servant of Yang Hanwu, he wouldn't be able to live either. This underground city is so terrifying. Yang Hanwu squinted his eyes. Although the underground city was exposed to his eyes, there seemed to be an invisible force blocking everything in the city. He couldn't see what was inside the city. This force was too mysterious and too powerful. There might really be unknown dangers. Yes, young master. I suspect that this city is connected to a different space, and this space is very special. Ho Shenquang said. This wasn't strange. The sky-reaching continent was connected to thousands of worlds. It wasn't strange for this underground city to be connected to a different world. The worlds connected to the sky-reaching continent varied in strength. Previously, the Dark Night continent could only be considered average. Compared to the Dark Night continent, the Flame continent should be slightly stronger. Moreover, there should be many planes that were stronger than the Flame continent and the Dark Night continent. However, the underground city under the Flame City was a little strange. It was hidden under the Flame City and not exposed to the sky-reaching continent. Yang Hanwu guessed that this underground city might be similar to the current Flame City. The entire city had already become a dead city. Due to some special reason, it had been sealed underground. However, it was still connected to the plane it originally came from. Perhaps this was the only explanation for it. What's the danger below? You said that you've entered the city before and encountered danger. You can tell me more about it. Yan Hanwu said. Ho Shenquang's face turned ugly when he heard this. He looked terrified. Young noble, to tell you the truth, I didn't see anything when I entered the city. However, I felt an inexplicable pressure after entering the city. My life force was slowly draining away, I don't know what was devouring it. If it was in the past, I would have been a little bit stronger. If I had hesitated for a moment, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to come out. Ho Shenquang said. That's strange. You didn't see the other party's shadow? Anya Shen was shocked. If that was the case, it was indeed terrifying. One should know that Ho Shenquang was a sovereign realm expert. If even he couldn't find the enemy, it proved how terrifying the other party was. How powerful was this? A ruler-level expert had almost died without even seeing the enemy. Just how powerful did he have to be to accomplish this? Yes. Ho Shenquang nodded. Therefore, young master, I don't recommend taking the risk in this underground city. Young master, why don't I go down and give it a try? Huateng said. If there's really something wrong, I'll come out immediately. Huo Shenquang looked at Huateng and said, you're too weak. I was much stronger than you in the past. Moreover, I could mobilize the power of the Flame City. However, after entering the city, I almost died. With your strength, you won't even have the chance to escape. Huateng was angry when he saw Huo Shenquang looking down on him. He said, so what if I'm not as strong as you? I'm willing to explore the way for young master. Compared to a coward like you, I'm much better. I'll be of much more help to young master. In fact, Huateng was gambling. He was gambling that Yan Hanwu wouldn't abandon him. Once he encountered danger, Yan Hanwu would save him. Alright, there's no need to argue. I have my own way to explore the way. Yan Hanwu waved his hand. Yan Hanwu knew what Huateng was thinking. However, Yan Hanwu was still surprised that Huateng dared to suggest exploring the way. After all, this underground city was very dangerous. If they weren't careful, they could be consigned to eternal damnation. There was indeed a dangerous aura in this underground city, especially the death aura. Yan Hanwu had a familiar feeling about this death aura. It was the aura of the immortal god talisman. This surprised Yan Hanwu. One had to know that he knew how powerful the immortal god talisman was. The 8 great immortal god talismans were divine objects ejected from the Fortune Heavenly Gate. He had encountered the power of the immortal god talisman before, but he had never seen the real immortal god talisman. Chapter 1871. Yan Hongwu's mind stirred and an incarnation appeared. It was the Qi into Trinity technique. After the incarnation appeared, it entered the underground city. Incarnation technique. Huo Shenquang and the other two were not surprised by this scene. However, Huo Shenquang was still a little worried. Young master, this underground city is very strange. If something happens to the incarnation, it may endanger the real body. You don't have to worry about this. Even if the incarnation dies, it won't be a threat to my real body. Yan Hanwu said. After the incarnation entered the underground city, Yan Hanwu could already feel the strong aura of the immortal deity talisman. After entering the city, Yan Hongwu's incarnation activated the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. Yan Hanwu began to scan the entire underground city. Outside the city, it was difficult for Yan Hanwu to use his Dharma Eye of Annihilation. Moreover, it was also very dangerous. Yan Hanwu was not sure whether he would be discovered by Zhige if he used his Dharma Eye of Annihilation. Moreover, once Zhige used his Dharma Eye of Annihilation, if Zhige discovered him, would he attack him? However, after entering the underground city, Yan Hanwu found that there was a strong and overbearing force that isolated the entire city. It was an independent space. Yan Hanwu felt that his divine sense couldn't penetrate into the city from the outside. This was very strange. After opening his Dharma Eye of Annihilation, Yan Hanwu saw a huge ancient stele in the depths of the city. This ancient stele was engraved with ancient runes, and it was filled with a majestic power. That seemed to be the power of immortality and indestructibility, the power of eternity. The moment he saw the ancient tablet, Yan Hongwu's incarnation collapsed. It couldn't withstand the overbearing power and turned into nothingness. Yan Hanwu took a deep breath, his eyes full of shock. Young master, what did you see? After seeing Yan Hongwu's body tremble, the expression on his face was very strange. An ancient tablet. Yan Hanwu said. It's a huge ancient stele that's filled with majestic power. It contains an aura of immortality and indestructibility. Ancient monolith? Everyone was stunned. Was there only one ancient monolith in the entire underground city? This was a little surprising. What kind of ancient tablet was it? It was actually in such a terrifying underground city. Moreover, according to Yan Hongwu's words, this ancient tablet was very terrifying. It was full of immortal and indestructible aura. What was the origin of this ancient tablet? It was indeed very curious. However, if Yan Hanwu was so nervous, this ancient tablet must be very terrifying. Yes, it's an ancient tablet, but I suspect that it's a talisman, a terrifying talisman, a legendary divine talisman. Yan Hanwu said. Divine talisman? Hu Shenquang narrowed his eyes. I've heard that in the ancient times, there were 8 great divine talismans. These 8 great divine talismans were ancient divine objects that were ejected from the ancient fortune heavenly gate. They were incomparably powerful. Anyone who could obtain the recognition of a divine talisman could obtain supreme power, becoming a peerless expert, surpassing the sovereign realm. You've heard of it? Yan Hanwu looked at Hu Shenquang and asked. I've heard of it. Rumor has it that our Blazing Mainland's ancestor god obtained a divine talisman and established the Blazing Mainland. Hu Shenquang nodded. Your Blazing Mainland's ancestor god had obtained a divine talisman? Yang Hanwu was even more curious. However, obtaining a divine talisman wasn't impossible. There were 8 great divine talismans in the myriad of worlds. Moreover, Yang Hanwu suspected that he had been in the divine realm. In the divine realm, the news of the 8 great divine talismans, or the aura of the 8 great divine talismans that he had encountered, were just imitations. It's just a rumor. I don't know whether it's true or not. Hu Shenquang said. However, it's very likely to be true. Yang Hanwu was very tempted by this answer. Yang Hanwu even had a guess that the Blazing Mainland might have been created by this divine talisman. This wasn't impossible. If the entire Blazing Mainland was a divine talisman, then Yan Hanwu was really tempted. If there's a divine talisman in this underground city, then we can definitely give it a try. However, this underground city is too dangerous. Hu Shenquang said. In fact, Hu Shenquang was also very tempted when he heard Yan Hanwu say that the thing in this underground city might be a divine talisman. However, he knew his own limits. Such a supreme treasure wasn't something that could be obtained by just anyone. Those who didn't have luck wouldn't be able to obtain it. If one wanted to forcefully obtain the recognition of such a supreme treasure, not only would he fail to obtain it, but he would also suffer a terrible backlash. The backlash of a divine talisman was very terrifying. Previously, the mysterious seed had already made them suffer a lot. Therefore, even if Hu Shenquang knew that it was a divine talisman, he would never take the risk. Moreover, he was now Yang Hanwu's servant. If something happened to Yang Hanwu, he would also die. However, if Yang Hanwu didn't die, he would have no chance at all. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Yang Hanwu narrowed his eyes and said. If it's a divine talisman, then we have to take the risk. Isn't it too risky? Anya Shenv asked. Of course, she had heard of the divine talisman before. Divine talisman, how powerful and terrifying it was. Even if she knew that there was a divine talisman in front of her, it was absolutely not easy to get it. Only if one's strength was incomparably powerful could he forcefully take the divine talisman away. However, it was also very difficult to obtain its recognition. What kind of supreme treasure was the divine talisman? To be able to obtain the recognition of a divine talisman, one would need to have great talent and luck. Therefore, ordinary people wouldn't even think about it. It was simply impossible. Anya Shenv knew that she would never be able to obtain it. Even if the divine talisman was placed in front of her, she wouldn't be able to obtain it. It was said that the power of a divine talisman surpassed that of a sovereign realm expert. Therefore, even a peak sovereign realm expert would have to pay a huge price if they wanted to forcefully obtain a divine talisman. Therefore, when she heard that Yang Hanwu said that it would be very dangerous to enter the city to take a look, she was very worried. Chapter 1872. That's for sure. Yang Hanwu said, if there's no danger, it's impossible to obtain such an opportunity. If there's no danger, how can there be such a good thing in the world? Yang Hanwu smiled indifferently. He knew about Anya Shen's worries. It was a huge temptation for anyone. However, to obtain such an opportunity, one had to take a huge risk. I mean, if there really is one of the 8 great divine talismans in here, won't it attract the attention of others if we take it? The goddess of the dark night added, After all, once a supreme treasure like the divine talisman appears, it will definitely cause a huge commotion. At that time, all the experts of the heaven-span continent will be affected. All the experts of the heavenly realm will definitely know about it. Hu Shenquang nodded and said, "Young master, Miss Yi is right. This is indeed possible. Once a divine object appears, there will definitely be a huge change in the world. In that case, it will definitely attract the attention of the experts of the heavenly realm. At that time, we may not be able to obtain the divine talisman. Therefore, I think we should still plan for the long term and make a good arrangement. What you said is not without reason. However, how can we obtain a supreme treasure like the divine talisman without paying a certain price?" Yang Hanwu said with a smile. Yang Hanwu had already thought of what they had said. Therefore, Yang Hanwu had already arranged a formation outside the city. This formation was called the Isolation Formation. This formation had sealed the entire Flame City in an independent space, completely isolating it from the outside world. Needless to say, the people of the sky-reaching continent would be able to see through this formation as well. Even the Lord of the War God Divine Palace, War God, would not be able to discover what they were doing. "Don't worry, I've already arranged it. Now, Flame City has been sealed off by me, isolating it from the outside world. So young master has already made arrangements." "That's great." Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Huateng said happily. Anya Shen nodded. She knew that Yang Hongwu wouldn't do something that he wasn't confident in. She only asked because she wanted to be sure. After all, this wasn't a joke. If they failed, they would be doomed eternally. They had to be careful. "Don't worry, let's go in," Yang Hongwu said. Hu Shenquang and Huateng looked at each other and didn't hesitate. They were Yang Hongwu's servants. If something happened to Yang Hongwu, they wouldn't be able to survive. Therefore, they couldn't stay outside while Yang Hongwu entered the underground city. Anya Shen followed closely behind Yang Hongwu. The four of them entered the underground city. As soon as they entered the city, they felt a terrifying pressure. It was so terrifying that they almost couldn't breathe. Hu Shenquang was fine. He had been here once before, so he was prepared to face this kind of pressure. However, Huateng and the goddess of the dark night were different. The two of them had never been here before. When they entered the underground city from the outside, they couldn't adapt to the sudden strong pressure. Therefore, they were injured in an instant. Anya Shen was better. He was stronger than Huateng, so his injuries were lighter. Moreover, he had Yang Hongwu's protection. However, Huateng was different. The sudden pressure caused him serious injuries. On the other hand, Yang Hongwu didn't seem to be a threat to Yang Hongwu. It was as if he didn't feel the pressure at all. Hu Shenquang and the other two looked at Yang Hongwu and couldn't help but sigh. The gap between them was too big. Although Yang Hongwu was only a divine emperor, he didn't seem to be affected by such a terrifying pressure. It was as if there was no pressure at all. This was the gap between them, a huge gap. "Master, I'm afraid I can't help you anymore," Huateng said with difficulty. He was panting heavily. "It doesn't matter." With a thought from Yang Hongwu, a talisman flew out and landed on Huateng and the other two. This talisman helped the three of them resist the terrifying aura. In fact, this talisman was made by Yang Hongwu after he encountered the divine talisman. This talisman could resist the powerful chi of the immortal divine talisman. After entering this place, Yang Hongwu was sure that this was the real chi of the immortal divine talisman. This was the chi of the immortal divine talisman. The ancient tablet was located in the depths of this city. In fact, Yang Hongwu knew that even if the ancient tablet wasn't the real body of the immortal divine talisman, it was definitely related to the immortal divine talisman. There's no pressure anymore. Master is really amazing. The three of them were pleasantly surprised when the pressure was gone. They didn't expect that such a terrifying pressure could be resolved by a mere talisman. This was too shocking. The Tao of talismans was really unfathomable. Especially Huateng and Hu Shenquang, they didn't know much about Yang Hongwu. Previously, Yan Hongwu had shown great talent in the Tao of formations. They only knew that Yan Hongwu had extraordinary attainments in the Tao of formations. He was definitely an incomparably powerful formation master in the Tao of formations in the entire sky-reaching continent. In the whole sky-reaching continent, there was probably no one who could be compared to Yan Hongwu. However, they didn't expect Yan Hongwu to have such a mysterious talisman. The Tao of talismans was more difficult to cultivate than the Tao of formations. If one could cultivate the Tao of talismans to a high level, it would be more promising than the Tao of formations. Of course, at Hu Shenquang's level, he knew very well that if one was proficient in one method, he would be proficient in all other methods. If one had an extremely high level of attainment in the way of formations, then one should be able to comprehend a lot of other things, such as the way of talismans and the way of weapon refinement. However, if one wanted to reach an extremely high level of attainment, it was not quite possible. Therefore, Hu Shenquang only thought that Yan Hongwu had already reached the peak of the Tao of formations. However, the Tao of talismans should only be comprehending by analogy. He definitely hadn't reached the same level as the Tao of formations. Young master, although this talisman has solved the problem of the Qi field, we can't underestimate it. Last time, when I entered here, there was a powerful attack. I don't know what kind of enemy it was. This time, it should be no exception. Therefore, we can't be careless. But this time, we can't be careless. Chapter 1873. Last time, it was extremely dangerous, but this time, it was much better. After all, there was no need to resist the strong pressure this time. Moreover, he was not alone, Yan Hongwu was in front of him. Don't worry, if anything happens, I can teleport you guys out. As long as I'm fine, you guys will be fine. Yan Hongwu said. Yan Hongwu did not care about Hu Shenquang and the other two's worries. This time, his goal was the immortal divine talisman, one of the 8 great divine talismans. Regardless of whether he had the chance to obtain it, he had to give it a try. After all, he did not want to miss out on such a treasure. This was an opportunity. If he missed it, he would not have such an opportunity again. Moreover, the 8 great divine talismans had always been one of his goals. Although the 8 great divine talismans were ranked below the life seal in his heart, Yan Hongwu did not want to miss out on the opportunity to obtain it. Therefore, Yan Hongwu had to give it a try no matter what, even if he knew that it was dangerous. Even if it was dangerous, he still had to take the risk. The group of people carefully walked through the city. In fact, there were times when even the slightest sound would cause them to worry endlessly. There doesn't seem to be any danger. Wooding said. Young master, we've walked for so long without encountering any danger, aren't you a little too nervous? Don't be careless. Hu Shenquang said. Young master, no matter what, it's always better to be careful. It's better to be safe than sorry. Hu Shenquang is right, we can't be careless. Anya Shen said. At this moment, Yan Hongwu said, it's not far, the ancient monument is not far away. However, our trouble is coming. Yan Hongwu found out that they were surrounded. This underground city was, in fact, equivalent to a dead city. Within the dead city, there was a threat. Naturally, this threat came from the dead. The people who surrounded them were the original masters of the city. They were all dead. What remained were only remnant souls. However, those remnant souls were also very terrifying and powerful. No one knew how long this ancient city had existed. The remnant thoughts and resentment of those who had died in this city had already condensed into ferocious spirits. These ferocious spirits were extremely powerful. As for those weak remnant souls, they had already been devoured. The remnant souls left behind were all extremely powerful. At that moment, the reason why Yan Hongwu had such a serious expression on his face was because they had been surrounded. The people who had surrounded them were precisely those ferocious spirits. The original owner of this city. Young master, are we surrounded? Why didn't I feel it? Huteng asked. That's right, young master. I don't feel anything at all. Are we really surrounded? Hu Shenquang was also a little surprised. If they were really surrounded, there should be some clues. However, he didn't find any clues at all. Therefore, he still didn't believe it. Yang Hongwu smiled gently. He didn't care about their doubts. In fact, if Yang Hongwu didn't have such a powerful eye technique like the Dharma Eye of Annihilation, he wouldn't have discovered them either. Because the concealment technique of these ferocious spirits was too powerful. They're coming. As soon as Yang Hongwu's voice fell, Hu Shenquang was sent flying. At the moment when Hu Shenquang was sent flying, Yang Hongwu reached out his hand and grabbed one of the ferocious spirits. That ferocious spirit burst out a powerful force after being caught by Yang Hongwu. It actually broke free from the restraint and even forced Yang Hongwu to take a few steps back. After Hu Shenquang was sent flying, he spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was filled with horror. He quickly returned to Yang Hongwu's side with a solemn expression. It's them, young master. It's them. Last time, I was ambushed by them and almost died in their hands. At this time, Hu Shenquang's expression was extremely nervous. He was sent flying without even noticing the other party. If it wasn't for Yang Hongwu, he would have died here. Hu Teng was also very nervous. Even Hu Shenquang couldn't withstand a single blow. If he was the one who was ambushed, he wouldn't be so lucky. After all, Hu Teng's strength was much weaker than Hu Shenquang. The two of them weren't on the same level at all. Take these talismans. Also, don't leave within 3 feet of me. Yang Hongwu took out a few talismans and gave them to the 3 of them. They didn't dare to be careless, especially Hu Shenquang, who was relieved after receiving Yang Hongwu's talismans. After all, he had seen Yang Hongwu's strength just now. The thing that ambushed him was almost caught. Perhaps only Yang Hongwu could contend with these things. The others couldn't discover these things at all. Only Yang Hongwu could see them. Young master, what are those things? Why can't we see or feel them? Anya Shenv asked. The goddess of the dark night was also a little worried about these invisible things. In fact, these things were even more terrifying than the Anya clan and the Dark Elf clan at night. The Anya clan and the Dark Elf clan could turn into spirits and disappear into nothingness at night. However, these things didn't seem to exist at all. They couldn't find any trace of them. This was the most terrifying thing. These things were simply the kings of assassination. If these things were used as assassins in the outside world, they would be terrifying. Not many people could resist them. Especially those who were on the same level as them. Even if they knew that they had appeared, they wouldn't be able to resist them. It was too terrifying. Ferocious spirits. These should be ferocious spirits. In other words, they are formed from the remnant thoughts, resentment and soul fragments left behind by the original owner of this city. They have a certain level of intelligence and are incomparably powerful. Some of them are even more terrifying and powerful than when they were alive. This city is perfectly integrated. It's very difficult to find them. Ordinary people can't catch their traces at all. If you don't have a special secret method, you have no chance of winning against them. Yang Hongwu explained. Then what should we do? Hu Shenquang was even more worried after hearing Yang Hongwu's words. Young master, are we going back now? Chapter 1874. You seem to have a lot of confidence in me, Yang Hongwu said to Anya Shenv with a smile. Of course, you have never disappointed us, Anya Shenv replied with a smile. Indeed, ever since Anya Shenv met Yang Hongwu had never disappointed her. No matter how big the crisis was, he was always able to get through it safely. This time, Yang Hongwu would definitely not disappoint her. At least, that was what Anya Shenv thought. Of course, this time will be no exception. As Yang Hongwu spoke, a huge furnace appeared with a thought. This was the devouring furnace. The devouring furnace exploded with a terrifying devouring power. It was like a huge black hole, crazily sucking in the surrounding spiritual energy. Under the pressure of the devouring furnace, the ferocious spirits fled frantically. They wanted to escape from the terrifying devouring power. For Yang Hanwu, any spirit body was no threat to Yang Hanwu, even if they were very powerful. One had to know that when Yang Hanwu was still very weak, he had already used the dragon soul devouring heaven's secret technique to devour many powerful spirit bodies and raise his cultivation base. It could be said that Yang Hanwu was the nemesis of any spirit body. Of course, unless the spirit body was so powerful that it was beyond Yang Hanwu's control. In that case, it might be a threat to Yang Hanwu. For example, if these spirits surpassed the level of a ruler, Yang Hanwu would not be able to deal with them. However, these ferocious spirits obviously had not reached that level. Damn it. At this moment, a powerful evil spirit revealed his true appearance. His appearance was very handsome and his eyes were incomparably sharp. His entire being was filled with a kind of powerful aura. This kind of aura was a kind of innate imposing aura. "Kid, stop it," he said. Yang Hanwu did not stop. He looked at the person and said, "Who are you? Do you think I'll stop just because you asked me to? That's unlikely." This person was very strong. Yang Hanwu felt the pressure. This person's strength was definitely stronger than the three Ho Shenquang brothers at their peak. "I know what you want. They are my brothers, my clansmen. Although many of them have already lost their sense of self, they are still my brothers, my clansmen. I do not wish for them to die completely," said that person. "You are very strong. Who are you? Are these your clansmen? I am very curious about your origins. Of course, if you can give me what I want, not only will I not kill them, but I will also give you a chance to revive." Yang Hanwu stopped the devouring furnace and looked in front of him. The man said. In fact, Yang Hanwu had guessed that this person should be the strongest among these ominous spirits. He might even be the city lord of this underground city, or rather, the owner. This was no exception. Yang Hanwu could suppress spirits. Although this person was strong, he did not have a physical body. He was just a spirit. As long as his cultivation did not surpass the sovereign realm, Yang Hanwu could still suppress him. After all, he did not have a physical body. It has been too long. I have almost forgotten my name. I have a title, the Undying Tao Lord, muttered the man. Undying Tao Lord? Yang Hanwu's eyes widened in shock. Tao Lord, how strong was this person who dared to call himself a Tao Lord? The realms Yang Hanwu knew of ranged from the God Emperor realm to the Emperor realm, then to the Sovereign realm. Tao Lord was probably a realm above the Sovereign realm. This person actually dared to call himself a Tao Lord. Could it be that his strength had already surpassed the Sovereign realm? Was Tao Lord a realm above the Sovereign realm? The spiritual body of an expert who had surpassed the sovereigns was actually so weak right now. Furthermore, he had fallen to the point where he didn't even have a physical body. Just how powerful and terrifying was his enemy? Could it be that he had been suppressed here by Zhiga Temple? If that was the case, then Zhiga Temple was truly powerful and terrifying. Who knew how many powerhouses had been suppressed in the self-defense Divine Hall? Tao Lord, I never thought that I would be lucky enough to meet a Tao Lord today. A true Tao Lord. Ho Shenquang stared at Tao Lord Undying, his eyes filled with admiration and shock. If you really are a Tao Lord, how could you have fallen to this point? Yang Hanwu was not frightened by him. This underground city was indeed very strange. Moreover, that ancient steel was also very terrifying. However, Yang Hanwu did not believe all of this guy's words. Tao Lords are not invincible. They are not immortal, said Tao Lord Undying. Tao Lord Deathless said, this is actually a part of my world. You are in my world, but now, my world has lost its vitality and essence. Lost its essence? Yang Hanwu narrowed his eyes. You are lying to me. How can you still be alive after losing your essence? Moreover, you said that this is your world. Once a world loses its essence, it can no longer exist. Tao Lord Undying glanced at Yang Hanwu. You are still too weak. You are only in the Divine Emperor realm. Although your talent is great and the power in your body is terrifying, you have not reached that level yet. There are many things that you do not know. You will know when you reach the Tao Lord realm. In truth, Tao Lords are nothing more than slightly stronger ants. Tao Lord Undying sighed, his eyes filled with loneliness. It was unimaginable that such a terrifying expert would be so powerless. It was as if he was helpless and powerless in the face of some kind of power. It made one's heart ache. I admit that I am not strong enough. Yang Hanwu nodded. This was the truth. Huo Shenquang's mouth twitched. If this was not strong enough, then what was he? He was not even comparable to an ant. However, if he was facing a Tao Lord expert, this was also the truth. Tao Lords were simply too terrifying. Even the Lord of the Forsaken Shrine was a Tao Lord. In front of a Tao Lord, hegemons were nothing more than ants. No, not even ants. They were nothing more than specks of dust. The difference was like the difference between a speck of dust and a star. However, I will reach that level eventually. Yan Hanwu said. You said that you know what I want? Can you give it to me? Chapter 1875. You want the Immortal God Talisman. Undying Tao Lord said, do you know that it's not that easy to get the Immortal God Talisman? Moreover, even if you get it, it might not be a blessing. Undying Tao Lord, you must have gotten the Immortal God Talisman since you're called Undying Tao Lord, right? Yang Hanwu looked at Undying Tao Lord and said. This guy seemed to have a close connection with the Immortal God Talisman. Moreover, looking at the loneliness in his eyes, he must have fallen to such a state. It seemed that he had a lot to do with the Immortal God Talisman. From his words, one could tell that. Of course, no one knew if it was true or not. Yes, I got the Immortal God Talisman. I can achieve what I have today because of the Immortal God Talisman. However, it's also because of the Immortal God Talisman that I've fallen to such a state. Undying Tao Lord said, if you can resurrect me and my people, I'll give you the Immortal God Talisman. However, I hope you won't regret it when the time comes. Anya Shenv and the others swallowed their saliva when they heard Undying Tao Lord's words. The Immortal God Talisman was really one of the 8 legendary God Talismans. Of course I won't regret it. In my eyes, there's no such thing as regret. Yang Hanwu said, if you really give me the Immortal God Talisman, I can resurrect you. As for your people, it won't be a problem. Yang Hanwu's words shocked Tao Monarch deathless. He looked at Yang Hanwu and said, you have to think carefully. Reviving me won't be easy. I'm a Tao Monarch. Do you know how powerful a Tao Monarch is? With your current cultivation, it's impossible for you to resurrect me. Unless you can reach the Tao Lord realm, there's a chance. Since I said so, I can naturally do it. However, it's impossible for you to recover your cultivation. Yan Hanwu said. Ha! Undying Tao Lord laughed out loud when he heard that. As long as I can recover my physical body, that's enough. As for cultivation, I naturally wouldn't dare to ask for it. The deathless Tao Lord looked at Yan Hanwu in astonishment. Restoring his physical body wasn't something that could be done just by talking about it. His soul was now just a remnant soul. Moreover, it was restricted by the Immortal God Talisman. If he wanted to regain his physical body, he would need the power of fortune. However, the power of fortune was not easy to obtain. As for these things, he didn't say them out loud. He wanted to see just how Yang Hanwu would give him a physical body. At his level, even possession was impossible because no physical body could withstand the power of the Immortal Divine Talisman. Here, he would be suppressed by the Immortal Divine Talisman. Unless he could leave this place and leave the range of the Immortal Divine Talisman, only the power of creation could help him form a physical body. Yang Hanwu didn't know about this. If he knew, it would be very painful. Of course, he would still choose to agree. In that case, Tao Lord, please tell me where the Immortal Divine Talisman is. Yan Hanwu said. All right. The Undying Tao Lord raised his hand and pointed. A passage appeared in the void. After the passage appeared, there was an ancient tablet at the end. This ancient tablet contained a terrifying power. Ordinary people would be shocked when they saw this ancient tablet. Those who were weak would be shocked to death. Ho Shenquang and the other two were quite strong. However, after taking a look at it, their bodies trembled violently and they suffered serious injuries. What a terrifying ancient tablet. Ho Shenquang spat out a mouthful of blood and didn't dare to look at the ancient tablet again. Anya Shen was the same. Huting was seriously injured and couldn't even speak. Is that the immortal divine talisman? Yang Hanwu narrowed his eyes. No, that's just the passage to the immortal divine talisman. The undying Tao Lord said, this is just the door. Kid, if you want to get the immortal divine talisman, you have to enter the immortal divine tablet and get its approval. Of course, if you're strong enough, you can force your way in. However, you can't do that. Immortal divine tablet? Yang Hanwu said, this isn't the immortal divine talisman, but the immortal divine tablet? Can you find the passage to the immortal divine talisman? Yang Hanwu was shocked. He thought that this was the immortal divine talisman, but he didn't expect that it wasn't the immortal divine talisman. In fact, this is also the immortal divine talisman. This immortal divine tablet is just a part of the immortal divine talisman. It's also possible to call it the immortal divine talisman. The undying Tao Lord said, what I obtained back then was the immortal divine tablet, a part of the immortal divine talisman. I never got the real one. The undying Tao Lord said bitterly. Back then, he was insufferably arrogant. After obtaining the immortal divine tablet, his strength improved by leaps and bounds. In the end, he swept through all the worlds and became a Tao Lord. When his strength reached the peak of Tao Lord, he realized that he had only obtained a part of the immortal divine talisman, which was the immortal divine tablet. He wanted to get the real immortal divine talisman, so he used the immortal divine tablet to open the passage to the immortal Tao domain. However, he didn't expect that after entering the immortal Tao domain, he would encounter something too terrifying. Everything was destroyed. He had fled in a panic, and now he was reduced to such a state, sealed in this small space. Yang Hanwu was shocked. He didn't expect that a powerful person like the undying Tao Lord couldn't get the real immortal divine talisman. Yang Hanwu couldn't believe it. Although I can't give you the real immortal divine talisman, I can give you the immortal divine tablet. However, you have to be able to get the recognition of the immortal divine tablet. It depends on your luck. The undying Tao Lord continued. Thank you, Tao Lord. I will naturally take the immortal divine tablet. I also want the immortal divine talisman. Yan Hanwu said. After saying that, Yan Hanwu walked towards the immortal divine tablet. The closer he got to the immortal divine tablet, the greater the pressure Yan Hanwu felt. Originally, Yan Hanwu could ignore all the pressure. However, when he got close to the immortal divine tablet, the terrifying pressure made it difficult for Yan Hanwu to breathe. Chapter 1876. At this moment, Yang Hanwu was already very close to the immortal steel. Because of this, Yang Hanwu felt an increasing pressure. In fact, the pressure was so strong that Yang Hanwu found it difficult to breathe. Just nice for me to temper my physical body. Yang Hanwu's eyes shone brightly as he circulated the Nine Heavens Divine Dragon technique in his physical body tempering technique to increase the strength of his physical body. One should know that it had been a long time since his physical body had reached such a level. However, he hoped that this time around, he could make use of this terrifying pressure to improve his physical body even more. Good lad. To think that he would make use of the power of the immortal steel to temper his physical body and raise his cultivation. Not simple indeed. Seeing that Yang Hanwu was actually making use of the pressure of the immortal steel to cultivate, the undying Tao Lord was extremely shocked. One should know that under this pressure back then, he could barely protect himself. However, Yang Hanwu actually thought of making use of this pressure to cultivate. This level of wisdom was far from what ordinary people could compare to. However, Yang Hanwu also felt that the pressure was way too great at this moment. Under this immense pressure, he felt as though his entire body was about to be crushed. Of course, this was also the reason why Yang Hongwu's physical body had improved significantly under this terrifying pressure. It's just a mere immortal steel. Rise for me. At this moment, Yang Hongwu had already come into contact with the immortal steel. With a grab, he grabbed the immortal steel and lifted it up. The moment he came into contact with the immortal steel exploded with an unimaginable power that rushed towards Yang Hongwu's physical body. As this surge of power entered, Yang Hongwu felt as though his physical body was about to be completely crushed. This surge of power wasn't something that he could withstand at all. Just as Yang Hongwu's body couldn't hold on any longer and was about to be destroyed by this tyrannical power, the invisible power in Yang Hongwu's body erupted and blocked this terrifying power. At this moment, Yang Hongwu knew that the sealed power in his body had erupted to protect him. Therefore, Yang Hongwu crazily operated the Nine Heavens Divine Dragon technique. Boom! A muffled sound rang out. With the breakthrough of the Nine Heavens Divine Dragon technique, Yang Hongwu's cultivation had also improved. Ninth layer of the Godly Emperor Realm. Yang Hongwu's cultivation had broken through several small realms, reaching level 9 of the Divine Emperor Realm. He was only one step away from reaching the peak of the Divine Emperor Realm and becoming half an emperor. The Nine Heavens Divine Dragon technique was still at the 5th level. In fact, it was too difficult to break through the Nine Heavens Divine Dragon technique. Until now, he had only broken through to the 5th level. He had no idea how long it would take for the Nine Heavens Divine Dragon art to break through to the 9th level. According to this calculation, if he broke through to the 9th level of the Nine Heavens Divine Dragon technique, his strength would probably surpass that of a Tao Lord. However, this was just Yang Hongwu's own guess. No one knew how far it would go. One thing was for sure, it was too far away. At least, it was absolutely impossible in a short period of time. The moment his cultivation base broke through, the pressure of the immortal steel disappeared completely. With a single thought, Yang Hongwu collected the immortal steel and refined it by Yang Hongwu. It recognized its master. So easy. The Undying Tao Lord was also surprised. He did not expect that the Undying Steel would recognize him as its master so easily. It was too surprising. Under normal circumstances, unless one was recognized by the Undying Steel, it would not be so easy to subdue it. The Immortal Steel. Congratulations, young master. Congratulations, young brother, for obtaining the recognition of the Immortal Steel. At this time, the few of them knew that Yang Hongwu had succeeded. In fact, Anya Shen and the others were also very worried when they saw Yang Hongwu withstanding the terrifying pressure. They were all afraid that Yang Hongwu would not be able to withstand it and be crushed by the terrifying pressure. Yes. Yang Hongwu smiled. I was lucky. I did not expect the Immortal Steel to be so terrifying. It was beyond my imagination. I almost could not withstand it. Yang Hongwu was telling the truth. Indeed, collecting the Immortal Steel had given Yang Hongwu too much pressure. After obtaining the Immortal Steel, Yang Hongwu also realized that the Immortal Steel was indeed a part of the Immortal God Talisman. He could use the Immortal Steel to enter the world of the Immortal God Talisman, which was the Immortal Tao domain. However, Yang Hongwu did not dare to enter at this time because the Immortal Tao domain was too strong. The Immortal Tao domain was too terrifying. It was not something that he could deal with. The reason why the Immortal Tao Lord was reduced to such a state was because he had entered the Immortal Tao domain. One must know that the Immortal Tao Lord was an expert of the Tao Lord realm and he even controlled a part of the Immortal Steel's power. However, he had fallen to such a state. He was only a divine emperor now. If he entered the Immortal Tao domain, he would be courting death. Therefore, Yang Hongwu would not enter the Immortal Tao domain to take the risk. I have to admit that your talent is amazing and your luck is heaven-defying. The Immortal Tao Lord said, I wonder how you will resurrect me and my clan? It is very difficult to resurrect a Tao Lord. Yang Hongwu said. Of course I know that. Little brother, there is no need to be anxious. I have waited for so many years. I will not be in a hurry. The immortal Tao Lord said with a smile. In fact, the moment Yang Hanwu received the recognition of the immortal steel, the immortal Tao Lord knew that his connection with the immortal God talisman had been severed. There was no more karmic connection. The immortal Tao Lord felt relieved. He even had a feeling that after losing the immortal steel, his connection with the immortal God talisman had been severed. With the connection with the immortal God talisman, he actually had the opportunity to break through. As long as he recovered to his peak, he might be able to break through the shackles of the Tao Lord realm. This surprised him. At this moment, he realized that although the immortal God talisman had made him, it had also restricted him. Back then, he had relied too much on the power of the immortal God talisman. Moreover, he had been too attached to it. It was because he had been too attached to the immortal God talisman and wanted to obtain the complete immortal God talisman that he had lost the possibility of breaking through and had fallen to such a state. However, he was now only a remnant soul. He did not know how long it would take for him to recover. Most importantly, he was now in the sky-reaching land of the divine palace of self-defense. Chapter 1877. Yang Hanwu also had his own thoughts. The reason why he agreed to give immortal Tao Lord a physical body was to prevent Zhiga from focusing on him. If he obtained the immortal God talisman, he would definitely be noticed by Zhiga. However, if immortal Tao Lord was resurrected, this would cause Zhiga to focus his attention on Tao Lord Deathless. Of course, this also included the experts in the sky-reaching land. After all, there were countless experts in the sky-reaching land. There were countless experts at the sovereign level. If these guys targeted him, it would be a problem. With immortal Tao Lord around, he would definitely share some of the pressure. This thing should be able to condense a physical body for Tao Lord, right? At this moment, Yang Hanwu waved his hand and condensed a mass of spiritual energy. This mass of spiritual energy contained boundless vitality. Creation Chi. This is Creation Chi. Immortal Tao Lord's eyes widened when he saw Yang Hanwu's mass of spiritual energy. At his level, it was very difficult to condense a physical body. Coupled with the immortal God talisman, an ordinary physical body wouldn't be able to withstand the impact of the terrifying power. The possibility of possession wasn't high either. However, this massive creation chi could perfectly dissolve the power of the immortal God talisman and condense a physical body for him. Moreover, the condensed new physical body would be extraordinary. Although it wouldn't be a true creation body and couldn't be compared to his original physical body, it wouldn't be too far off. Yes, this is creation chi. This creation chi is useless to ordinary people. However, it can be used to condense a physical body for Tao Lord and remove the immortal power. Yang Hanwu said. Thank you. Immortal Tao Lord turned into a ray of light and entered the mass of creation chi. Then, the mass of creation chi wriggled and condensed into a physical body. This was immortal Tao Lord. At this moment, immortal Tao Lord's strength had decreased significantly after condensing a physical body. He was only at the Emperor realm. However, immortal Tao Lord was overjoyed. His cultivation base could be restored, but it wasn't easy to obtain such a physical body. Thank you, little brother. If it wasn't for you, I don't know how much longer this remnant soul of mine would be able to struggle at death's door. Undying Tao Lord bowed towards Yang Hanwu. He was extremely grateful. He wasn't putting on an act. He was truly grateful. Tao Lord, there's no need for this. This is what I should do. Tao Lord, you've given me the greatest benefit by allowing me to obtain the undying steel. Yang Hanwu said, compared to the immortal steel, this fortune chi is nothing. Although Yang Hanwu felt the pinch, it was all worth it. Ha, you can't say it like that. That immortal steel is already useless to me. Exchanging a useless immortal steel for a new life is still a profit for me. Tao Lord Undying laughed out loud. In the future, if you have any problems, you can look for me. I'll definitely help you. Tao Lord, there's no need for this. It's just that there's too little fortune chi. I'm afraid I can't do anything to your clansmen, Yan Hanwu said. There's no need to trouble you about this. Tao Lord Undying waved his hand and said, I have my ways to deal with them. Having a physical body was equivalent to a new life. He originally thought that he would dissipate after tens of thousands of years and become nutrients for the immortal steel. He never expected that Yan Hanwu would actually give him a new life. As for his clansmen, it wouldn't be difficult to resurrect them. After all, he was the only one who couldn't be resurrected because of the immortal steel or the immortal talisman. As for the others, as long as they left this space, it wouldn't be difficult for them to be resurrected. Tao Lord, I have a question. I wonder if you can answer it for me. Yan Hanwu looked at Tao Lord Undying and asked. What he wanted to know was Tao Lord of the Immortality and Jigu. Given Tao Lord of the Immortality's cultivation, he shouldn't have been trapped under the sky-reaching land. After all, this was the Jigu Divine Palace. As a Tao Lord of the Immortality was extremely powerful and wouldn't easily enter the inner world of others. Once he entered, how could Jigu let him go so easily? Yan Hanwu also didn't believe that Jigu would give up a supreme treasure like the immortal talisman. Could it be that Jigu suppressed Tao Lord Undying here in order to seize the immortal talisman? That didn't seem very likely. Given Jiji's strength, if he knew that the immortal steel was here and wanted to seize it, Tao Lord Undying wouldn't be able to protect it. After all, Tao Lord Undying was already dead and only a wisp of his soul was left. I knew that you would ask me. I didn't expect you to hold back until now. Tao Lord Undying sighed. In fact, the sky-reaching land wasn't originally in the Jigu Divine Palace. It was taken in by Jigu later. When it was taken in, I was already sealed in the sky-reaching land. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't have lived until now and the immortal steel would have fallen into Jiji's hands. In fact, if the Undying Tao Lord was willing, he could let Jigu know about it. However, the Undying Tao Lord wasn't stupid. Once Jigu found out about it, it would be the Undying Tao Lord's death after Jigu obtained the Undying Steel. Now that I have the immortal steel, can I hide it from Jiji's eyes? Yan Hanwu asked again. An expert like Jigu was too terrifying. Now, he was in Jiji's inner world, and he had yet to refine the immortal steel completely. Ordinary Sovereign Realm experts wouldn't be able to tell that he had the immortal steel, but Jigu was different. If Jigu found out about it, he would be doomed. If Jigu really wanted to seize the immortal steel, he didn't have the slightest confidence. Now that the immortal steel has recognized you as its master, Jigu won't disregard his status and attack you to seize the immortal steel. However, if it's the immortal talisman, it's not certain. As for the immortal steel, it's just an incomplete talisman. Jigu doesn't care about it. You don't have to worry too much. Moreover, you should have a lot of trump cards that are enough to cover up all of this. Tao Lord Undying smiled. You have a lot of treasures on you. If Jigu wanted to attack you, do you think you would be able to survive until now? Yan Hanwu took a deep breath. This was the truth. If Jigu wanted to attack him, he wouldn't be able to survive until now. Chapter 1878. Senior Jun, what are your plans for the future? Yan Hanwu looked at Tao Lord Undying and asked. Now that Tao Lord Undying had a physical body and had come back to life, he probably wouldn't continue to be trapped in this damned place. Perhaps, Yan Hanwu could even make use of Tao Lord Undying's strength. Moreover, the immortal steel had been taken away by him. This world wouldn't last for long. Once he left, this world would collapse and this underground city would cease to exist. This underground city existed because of the immortal steel. Now that he had taken the immortal steel, he had taken it away. As long as he left, this underground city would definitely collapse. I'm going to rest here for a while. I'll only leave after my cultivation base has recovered. If you need anything, you can use this message talisman to contact me. With that, Tao Lord Undying took out a message talisman and handed it to Yan Hanwu. If there's anything I can help you with, I'll definitely not decline. Yan Hanwu had originally thought that the deathless Tao Lord would be with them. he had not expected that this fellow would actually want to cultivate here. However, the promise he had made and the talisman had surprised Yang Hanwu. However, since Tao Lord Undying wasn't willing to go with them, Yang Hanwu naturally wouldn't say anything. This was his freedom and he couldn't order him around. In fact, Yang Hanwu felt that Tao Lord Undying's unwillingness to go with them was both good and bad for Yang Hanwu. The good thing was that he didn't have to worry about being schemed against by Tao Lord Undying. The bad thing was that Tao Lord Undying was an absolute expert after all and knew a lot of things. If Tao Lord Undying was willing, Yang Hanwu would be able to get a lot of help from him. For example, he would be able to learn how to use the immortal steel. If Tao Lord Undying was willing, Yang Hanwu would be able to get a lot of help in these areas. Since Tao Lord Undying wants to consolidate and recover your cultivation base, I won't force you. Yang Hanwu said. We'll take our leave now. Yang Hanwu gave Ho Shenquang and Anya Shen the look and left the underground city. In fact, there were still some treasures in the underground city. However, these treasures belonged to the Undying Tao Lord. If Luo Yunyang continued to take them, he was afraid that the Undying Tao Lord would be displeased. Although the Undying Tao Lord wouldn't say it out loud, he definitely wouldn't be happy. Furthermore, these items didn't mean much to Yang Hanwu. They were just some treasures. There was no need to offend the deathless Tao Lord over them. In fact, after Yang Hanwu took the immortal steel, he saw a treasure. It was a fire attribute treasure. This treasure was quite rare and Huateng didn't dare to say anything more after hearing Yang Hanwu's words. Although Huateng wanted it very much, he didn't dare to say anything more after hearing what Yang Hanwu said. The group left the underground city and returned to Flame City. Huateng said, "Young master, there are still many treasures in the underground city. Why don't we take some? Are you the one who wants them?" Ho Shenquang said. "Although the treasures are good, they belong to the Undying Tao Lord. If we take them by force, we'll definitely offend the Undying Tao Lord. It's not worth it to make things difficult for young master over a few treasures." "That's right." Yang Hanwu nodded. In fact, Yang Hanwu knew that Ho Shenquang had many treasures himself. Yang Hanwu and Anya Shen naturally didn't lack treasures either. However, Huateng was only a small general in Flame City. He naturally didn't have any treasures. When he saw the treasures in the underground city, he was naturally moved. Especially when he saw the treasures that were very compatible with him, he naturally wanted to obtain them. Unfortunately, Yang Hanwu turned around and left, leaving him with no choice. He was only Yang Hanwu's servant. When his master wanted to leave, how could he, as a servant, dare to disobey his master's orders? Moreover, Yang Hanwu had already seen through his intentions but still wanted to leave. If Huateng forcibly took the treasures, not only would he incur the displeasure of Yang Hanwu, but he might also be killed by the Undying Tao Lord. The Undying Tao Lord's strength was so strong that he was not someone he could withstand. "I know you don't have a suitable weapon, but don't worry. As long as you work for me, I won't mistreat you. As for weapons, when I get the materials in the future, I can forge a suitable treasure for you." Yang Hanwu said to Huateng. "That's not difficult." Ho Shenquang was shocked. According to Yang Hanwu's words, he could also forge weapons. Moreover, it seemed that he could forge supreme treasures. This was even more shocking. One had to know that Yang Hanwu had already shown a lot of talent before. In terms of alchemy, talismans, and formations, he was extremely talented. His attainments were not low. Now, he said that he also seemed to have a lot of attainments in refining tools. How could this not surprise people? No matter how outstanding a person's talent was, there was always a limit to his energy. On the path of cultivation, it was already very rare to be proficient in one or two aspects. However, Yang Hanwu seemed to be at the top of all aspects. This was truly terrifying. This master seemed to know everything and was proficient in everything. It was simply too terrifying. "Master, There's no need for this." Yang Hanwu knew what Huateng wanted to say. He shook his head and said, "I'm going to leave this place." Ho Shenquang and Huateng, the two of you will guard Flame City. Flame City should have some trump cards. I hope that the next time we meet, you can rebuild it. Build a glorious Flame City. Huateng, as for your treasure, when you find suitable materials in the future, I will tailor one for you. For now, you can go to Flame City's treasury to collect one. Master, you're leaving? Hu Shenquang was stunned when he heard this. He never thought that Yan Hanwu would be in such a hurry to leave. It was as if something had happened. This made Hu Shenquang worried. Moreover, Yan Hanwu didn't even check the treasury of Flame City. Yes, I don't have much time left. I have a bad feeling, so I have to hurry. Yan Hanwu said. Anya Shen was also surprised. He didn't expect Yan Hanwu to be in such a hurry. Chapter 1879. With that, Yan Hanwu and Anya Shen crushed a teleportation talisman and teleported them away. In an instant, they appeared thousands of miles away. Young master, why are you in such a hurry? Did something happen? Anya Shen was surprised to see Yan Hanwu in such a hurry. After all, there was no need for him to be in such a hurry unless something major had happened. Yan Hanwu wasn't an impatient person. There were only two things that could make Yan Hanwu so anxious. One was Yan Hongwu's woman, and the other was a fragment of the life seal. Apart from these two possibilities, Yan Hanwu couldn't possibly be in such a hurry. Don't ask too much. Yan Hanwu didn't explain. He used another teleportation talisman and teleported them away. This time, they teleported a few hundred miles away. After two teleportations, the two arrived outside an ancient city. Iron Mountain City? Yan Hanwu looked at the majestic city gates. The three words Iron Mountain City contained a majestic power. This city wasn't simple. Compared to Flame City, it wasn't weak. There were several powerful auras in this ancient city. However, there was only one sovereign realm expert. However, this sovereign realm expert's strength was terrifying. He was a late-stage sovereign realm expert. A late-stage sovereign realm expert was much more threatening than two mid-stage sovereigns. A sovereign realm expert's strength is terrifying, Yan Hanwu murmured. Young master, is there something in Iron Mountain City that you want? Anya Shen asked. What on earth was in this city that made Yan Hanwu so anxious that he used two transmission talismans in a row and rushed here in such a hurry? There must be something that he had to pay attention to. Something. Anya Shen was very surprised. It must be some kind of treasure that attracted him so much. However, this made Anya Shen even more curious. I can feel her aura, Yan Hanwu said. She's in Iron Mountain City. Whose aura? Yang Hongwu's words surprised Anya Shen even more. After all, who could make Yang Hanwu so anxious? At least, she didn't know. Could it be from another plane? This wasn't impossible. She knew that Yan Hanwu wasn't originally from the Dark Night continent. Instead, he came from the Divine Realm and accidentally entered the Dark Night continent. This was the Heavenspan continent, the Divine Temple of Self-Defense. It wasn't strange for it to be connected to the Divine Realm. You don't know him, Yan Hanwu said. In truth, the reason why Yan Hanwu was so anxious was because he sensed Pan Ni's aura. Pan and I was one of his women. He had never imagined that he would sense Pan Ni's aura here. It seemed that Pan and I was still in danger. Come on, let's go in, Yan Hanwu said. Yan Hanwu didn't enter through the gates of Iron Mountain City. Instead, he used the teleportation technique. The two of them entered an ancient hall. This hall was the main city of Iron Mountain City. There was no powerful aura in this hall. This hall wasn't where the late-stage Sovereign Realm expert resided. Yang Hanwu used the teleportation technique in the Fortune aura to envelop his body. This allowed Yang Hanwu to easily enter the hall. The palace was heavily guarded with forbidding auras, but they were nothing to Yang Hanwu. He was able to enter the place with ease, as if there was no one around. This was Yang Hongwu's strength. It's here. Yang Hanwu looked at the room in front of him and narrowed his eyes. Pan Ni's aura was inside. This proved that Pan and I was inside. However, Yang Hanwu was very curious. There wasn't only Pan Ni's aura inside. There was also another familiar yet unfamiliar aura. This aura puzzled Yang Hanwu. This aura seemed to be related to his bloodline. This surprised Yang Hanwu. Who was the person who was related to him by blood? Who is it? How dare you barge into the city lord's mansion? An angry shout sounded. Yang Hanwu had already kicked open the door. When he entered, Yang Hanwu was furious. He saw that Pan and I was trapped. Her face was covered in blood and her aura was weak. Moreover, there was a young man beside her. This young man looked very similar to Yang Hanwu. His aura was even weaker. There was a hole in his chest. Husband. When Pan and I saw Yang Hanwu, she was pleasantly surprised. Then, her expression changed greatly and she shouted, "Go, go, leave this place." Husband? When the man beside Pan and I heard this, he laughed and said, "You're this woman's husband, so this brat should be your child." TSK TSK, what a dense bloodline power. Good, very good. I was worried that this brat's bloodline power was still a bit weak. You're his father. Your bloodline is so strong. After devouring your heart, it should be able to improve my bloodline. Child? Pan and I, is he my child? Yang Hanwu looked at the young man. At this moment, he was on the verge of death. Yang Hanwu's eyes flashed coldly. This person before him was courting death. Not only did he injure Pan and I to this extent, he also put his own life on the line. How could Yang Hanwu not be furious when his child was on the verge of death? You deserve to die. Do you know that? Yang Hanwu's furious chi exploded out. He looked like a terrifying demon god. The entire palace was enveloped by a terrifying killing chi. The room had completely collapsed. A terrifying chi was locked onto the man in front of him. What an arrogant brat. You're too weak. In front of me, Tai Meng, you can't even withstand a single blow. Brat, if you know what's good for you, hand over your bloodline and I'll let you live. Tai Meng looked at Yang Hanwu. He wasn't worried at all. At this moment, Yang Hanwu's aura was terrifying. His chi was terrifying, but Yang Hanwu was only a godly emperor. A cultivator of the 9th godly emperor layer was nothing in his eyes. He was at the peak of the great imperial emperor layer, a half-step ruler. Godly emperors were just ants. If he wanted to kill Yang Hanwu, it would be extremely easy. Common life Great Seal, come out. At this moment, Yang Hanwu's terrifying chi exploded out. A huge seal appeared. That was the common life Great Seal. At this moment, Yang Hanwu was using his greatest strength. Chapter 1880. After being hit by Yang Hanwu's life Great Seal and Undying God Tablet, Tai Meng coughed up a mouthful of blood. This attack was extremely domineering, and Tai Meng wasn't at the ruler realm. On top of that, Yang Hanwu had attacked in anger, so he was instantly heavily injured. Damn it, you actually have so many treasures. Tai Meng had been too arrogant, and Yang Hanwu had also exploded out with his full strength. As such, Tai Meng couldn't withstand it at all. However, it's impossible for you to kill me. I was too careless just then. I didn't think that you would have so many treasures. These treasures are all mine. Tai Meng's eyes were filled with greed. Treasures. These two treasures definitely weren't ordinary treasures. They were supreme treasures, and they were extremely powerful. Tai Meng had been heavily injured in an instant. After all, Tai Meng didn't cultivate any ordinary cultivation technique. His body was incredibly powerful, and it was like a steel mountain that couldn't be shaken. Ordinary treasures wouldn't be able to injure him at all. Die. Yang Hanwu didn't say anything. Since he hadn't killed Tai Meng with his first attack, he continued to crazily attack. This time, he was even faster than before, and the Life Grand Seal once more smashed down on Tai Meng. Damn it. At this moment, Tai Meng's expression greatly changed. He realized that something was wrong. This space had been sealed, and he couldn't use the Iron Mountain City's power at all. Moreover, he couldn't even call for help. He had no choice but to take Yang Hongwu's attack head-on. Bang! With a muffled explosion, he was once again sent flying. Die! Yang Hongwu followed up with another attack, putting away the Life Great Seal and Undying God Tablet. Right now, he was holding a saber, the primordial saber. Wait! Seeing Yang Hongwu walking towards him with his saber filled with killing intent, Tai Meng had no choice but to lower himself. He had been too careless, and after the 2 attacks, he was already heavily injured. Right now, he couldn't fight against Yang Hongwu at all. He didn't want to die. Even if you kill me, you won't be able to escape. This is Iron Mountain City, and I'm the city lord. If something happens to me, all of you will die here with me, Tai Meng said loudly. What a joke! Yang Hongwu coldly harumphed and did not hesitate as he slashed out with his saber. This saber gave off a shocking light, and its killing intent locked onto Tai Meng, making it impossible for him to dodge. He could not believe that Yang Hongwu would directly kill him. So what if I kill you? If you dare to lay your hands on my woman, you will die. After saying that, Yang Hongwu's saber slashed down on Tai Meng's body. Tai Meng's eyes widened as he was once again sent flying. Before Tai Meng could land on the ground, Yang Hongwu once again slashed down. His head was chopped off. Following this, Yang Hongwu waved his hand, and a fireball flew out. The instant Tai Meng's soul flew out, it was ignited by the fireball. Tai Meng's soul let out a pain cry before his body and soul were turned into nothingness. He could not be any more dead. After killing Tai Meng, Yang Hongwu went to Pan Ni's side and gave her a medicinal pill. Of course, he also gave it to the young man who looked quite similar to him. Husband, how is Juner? After taking the medicinal pill, Pan and I hurriedly went to the young man's side. You can't let anything happen to Juner, he's our child. Yang Hongwu said, he's fine, you don't need to worry. Yang Hongwu looked at his son. Tai Meng was connected to him by blood, this was something that could not be denied. Although Yang Hongwu was not ready to be a father, he was still his son. It was just that his bloodline had been destroyed, and his heart had been dug out. If it weren't for the fact that he was quite strong, he would already be a dead man. Fortunately, he had come in time. Otherwise, he would definitely be dead. Anya Shenv looked at Yang Hongwu and then at Pan and I. He naturally felt a bit disappointed. Although he knew that a genius like Yang Hongwu definitely had a woman, seeing that Pan and I had even given birth to Yang Hongwu's child, he still felt a bit uncomfortable. What's his name? Yang Hongwu asked. Yang Tianjun, said Pan and I. He's Yang Tianjun. How did you get here and get caught by this bastard? Yang Hongwu asked Pan and I after seeing that Yang Tianjun's aura had stabilized. Husband, this isn't the place to talk. Let's think of a way to leave this place and go somewhere safe. Pan Ni's expression suddenly changed. There's a peerless expert in Iron Mountain City. His strength is much greater than Fei Meng's. If we're targeted by him, I'm afraid, if he catches us, we'll be in trouble. Yang Hongwu thought about it and felt that she was right. Nodding, he grabbed Pan and I and Yang Hongwu, and nodded to Anya Shenv. With a thought, he tore open space, and the 4 of them left Iron Mountain City in an instant. Iron Mountain City, Grand Elder Residence. This was where the Grand Elder of Iron Mountain City, Tai Tulong, cultivated. The instant Tai Meng was killed, Tai Tulong sensed it. Tai Meng was the city lord of Iron Mountain City. For him to be killed in the city lord's residence infuriated him. This was a provocation to Iron Mountain City. However, when he arrived at the city lord's residence, he found that Tai Meng's cultivation place was a complete mess. The enemy hadn't discovered him at all, and there wasn't even a trace of his aura. He asked the guards of the city lord's residence, but none of them knew. They didn't even know how the enemy had gotten in. Could it have been done by that bastard? Tai Tulong was furious. It was impossible for an outsider to enter the city lord's residence without anyone noticing. If it wasn't an outsider, then it was very likely an insider. Only his son, Tai Xiaoyao, could kill Tai Meng without anyone noticing. Although Tai Xiaoyao was Tai Meng's son, in reality, he hated Tai Meng to the bone. This was because Tai Meng had stolen his son's fortune in order to take the city lord's position. Furthermore, he had caused Tai Xiaoyao's mother to die. It was because of this that Tai Xiaoyao hated Tai Meng to the bone. He had even tried to assassinate Tai Meng several times. After failing to find any clues in the city lord's residence, Tai Tulong teleported to Tai Xiaoyao's residence. Tai Xiaoyao, get the hell out here! Tai Tulong roared, and the door to Tai Xiaoyao's residence was instantly shattered. Chapter 1881. Were you the one who killed Tai Meng? Tai Tulong asked coldly as he released an immense pressure. If it weren't for the fact that Tai Xiaoyao's strength wasn't bad, he would have been unable to breathe in front of this pressure. That old bastard is dead? Tai Xiaoyao couldn't help but smile. Although he was suppressed by Tai Tulong's aura, he still smiled. He didn't really care about Tai Tulong, because he knew that Tai Tulong wouldn't kill him. After all, he was the third strongest expert after Tai Tulong. Tai Meng was already dead. If he died as well, it would be a huge blow to Iron Mountain City. Therefore, he didn't care about Tai Tulong's threat. That's great, that's truly great. This makes me truly happy. Unfortunately, that old bastard didn't die by my hands. As Tai Xiaoyao said those words, hatred shot out from his eyes. You! Tai Tulong was furious. Tai Tulong was infuriated by Tai Xiaoyao. This bastard, he really wanted to slap him to death. In the end, Tai Tulong managed to suppress the rage in his heart. You weren't the one who killed Tai Meng? Tai Tulong stared at Tai Xiaoyao, wanting to see some clues from his eyes. I wanted to kill him, but unfortunately, it wasn't me. Tai Xiaoyao sighed. If it wasn't you, it would have been impossible for an outsider to kill Tai Meng in the city lord's mansion. An outsider wouldn't have been able to enter, Tai Tulong said. In Iron Mountain City, Tai Meng was the city lord. Although his strength hadn't reached the ruler realm, he was still able to fight against a ruler in the city lord's mansion. Even Tai Tulong himself wouldn't have been able to kill Tai Meng so easily. Moreover, he hadn't even given Tai Meng a chance to call for help. No matter who it was, I have to properly thank him. Tai Xiaoyao smiled. From this, it could be seen just how happy he was about Tai Meng's death. Firstly, he had gotten his revenge, and secondly, he had a chance to become the city lord of Iron Mountain City. This was something that he had always dreamed of. His talent was much greater than Tai Meng's, and if he could become the city lord of Iron Mountain City, if he became the city lord of Iron Mountain City, he would be able to quickly reach the ruler realm. However, Tai Meng's death also made him quite worried. Although he didn't know who had killed Tai Meng, for that person to be able to kill Tai Meng in the city lord's mansion so soundlessly and without giving Tai Meng a chance to call for help, it could be seen how terrifying that person was. In the city lord mansion, even Tai Tulong wouldn't be able to achieve such a feat. Tai Tulong's strength was absolutely formidable. This was something he knew very well in his heart. Since the other party had killed Tai Meng, would they do the same to him? This was something that he was quite worried about. Even Tai Meng could not block it, so he did not think that he would be able to block it. I hope Tai Meng's death really has nothing to do with you. Otherwise, even if the fate of Iron Mountain City is damaged, I'll kill you. Tai Tulong coldly snorted and left Tai Xiaoyao's residence. While Tai Tulong was searching for Tai Meng's murderer, Yang Hanwu had already set up a formation. At this time, Yang Tianjun had also woken up. Pan and I was overjoyed to see Yang Tianjun awake. Yang Hongwu's lips curled into a trace of a smile. Juner, this is your father, Pan and I introduced to Yang Tianjun. Greetings, Lord Father. Yang Tianjun bowed towards Yang Hongwu. He didn't seem very excited, but when he saw that Yang Hongwu's cultivation was only at the God Emperor realm, he felt somewhat disappointed. In his heart, his father Yang Hongwu should be an unparalleled expert with unparalleled strength. He had never imagined that Yang Hongwu's cultivation would only be at the God Emperor realm. He couldn't even compare to him. At the very least, he was now at the Emperor realm. Child, don't underestimate your father. Although his cultivation isn't high, his strength is comparable to sovereigns. Tai Meng couldn't even withstand a single blow from your father. If it weren't for your father, you and I would have already died at Tai Meng's hands. Pan and I naturally saw through her child's thoughts. Pan and I knew what her son was thinking. Hearing this, Yang Tianjuan's eyes widened in disbelief. Could it be that his father was hiding his cultivation? That was possible. Moreover, his mother Pan and I had also said that his father Yang Hongwu's cultivation wasn't high. If that was the case, then his father's strength was truly terrifying. As a god emperor, he was able to kill Tai Meng, a half-step sovereign. Moreover, Tai Meng was the city lord of Iron Mountain City. In Iron Mountain City, Tai Meng's strength was comparable to sovereigns. However, his father Yang Hongwu had easily killed Tai Meng. Tai Meng didn't even have the chance to fight back. Ha, it's nothing. Yang Hongwu laughed. He didn't mind at all. Boy, you have to cultivate properly. Your bloodline source is damaged. It will take some time for you to completely recover. At this point, Yang Hongwu sighed. It was not easy to recover from the damage to one's origin. Even if he had countless methods, it would still take time. Of course, he could also use his own source to help Yang Tianjun recover. However, Yang Hongwu wouldn't do that. Even if he used his own source to help Yang Tianjun recover, it would still take a long time for Yang Tianjun to recover. However, there is a way for you to recover quickly. Moreover, it will allow you to reach a higher level. Yang Hongwu had an idea. He wanted to take over Iron Mountain City and make his son Yang Tianjun the city lord. This way, Yang Tianjun's source would be quickly recovered. Sufficient. What is it? Yang Tianjun was pleasantly surprised. He hurriedly asked. Take down Iron Mountain City and make you the city lord of Iron Mountain City. Yang Hongwu's eyes lit up as he spoke. No. Pan and I shook her head. Pan and I hurriedly shook her head. It's too dangerous. Iron Mountain City's old ancestor, Tai Tulong, is too strong. We are no match for him. We can't take such a risk. Jun'er's strength can slowly recover. Yang Hongwu smiled. Since I said it, it means that I'm confident. Only Tai Tulong can make me wary of Iron Mountain City. The others aren't worth mentioning. Now that I've killed Tai Meng, Iron Mountain City's luck is at a low point. This is the best time. If we can lure Tai Tulong out, then it will be the best time. Chapter 1882. I know about the geniuses of Iron Mountain City, said Pan and I. But it won't be easy to kill them. Where is it? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes and asked. Myriad Dragon Mountain. The geniuses of Iron Mountain City are all training there, said Pan and I. Pan and I said, back then, I accidentally entered the 10,000 Dragon Mountains and was captured by Tai Meng there. Alright, then let's go to Myriad Dragon Mountain. Yang Hongwu's eyes shone with a cold light. Kill all of their geniuses and seize Iron Mountain City's fortune. However, Myriad Dragon Mountain is also very dangerous. There are groups of poisonous snakes there, and rumor has it that there's a snake king there that's extremely powerful. That snake king seems to be Tai Tulong's battle pet, said Pan and I. I heard this by accident. Tai Tulong's battle pet is a snake king? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. As expected, it wasn't simple. A powerful serpent king. Then, this serpent king's strength was at least at the half-step sovereign realm. If Tai Tulong wasn't here, he would have killed it. If Tai Tulong wasn't there, then a snake king would be able to sever one of Tai Tulong's arms, greatly reducing his strength. Otherwise, a late-stage sovereign and a snake king battle pet would be extremely terrifying. So what if it's a snake king? I'll just beat it to a dead snake. Yang Hongwu was confident. Not to mention snakes, Yang Hongwu wouldn't even be worried about powerful dragons at the sovereign realm. What cultivation technique did he cultivate? It was the nine heavens' divine dragon art. Combined with the power of his bloodline, he could completely counter it. It was the same for mutated beasts with the bloodline of dragons, and it was the same for snakes. The group headed towards the 10,000 Dragon Mountain. The 10,000 Dragon Mountain was not far from the Iron Mountain City. It was the territory of the Iron Mountain City. It could be said that the 10,000 Dragon Mountain was one of the most important places in the Iron Mountain City. Most of the resources of the Iron Mountain City came from the 10,000 Dragon Mountain. It was a place for training. If the Iron Mountain City did not have this myriad Dragon Mountain, the strength of the Iron Mountain City would be much weaker. After arriving at the 10,000 Dragon Mountain, they looked at this towering mountain. In reality, this was a mountain range. The main peak was the myriad Dragon Mountain. He even set up a formation to hide the spirit vein inside. Yan Hanwu smiled. In the main peak of myriad Dragon Mountain, there was a formation. This formation sealed off a spirit vein. If it was someone else, they wouldn't be able to find it. However, in front of Yan Hanwu, there was no way to find it. There was nowhere to hide. There were no formations or restrictions that could block the detection of Yan Hanwu's Dharma Eye of Annihilation. This array formation is really not simple, huh? It seems to be nourishing something with the power of the spirit vein. Although Yan Hanwu had seen through the array formation, there was still an underground palace within the array formation. What was in that underground palace was the key to everything. It should be a treasure, a powerful treasure that was nurtured by the entire spiritual vein. A treasure that was nurtured by a spiritual vein was definitely not simple. If it was an ordinary item, there was no need to use such a powerful spiritual vein to nurture it. More importantly, that spiritual vein was the only thing that mattered. The Snake King was guarding this treasure in the middle of the formation. "Husband, is what you said true?" Pan and I was shocked. One had to know that this was not the low-level world from before. Here, it was so easy to discover the secret of Myriad Dragon Mountain. This was not something that ordinary people could see. Of course it's true. My eye technique can see through any formation and restriction. Yan Hanwu said confidently. However, there's a powerful python in the formation. I'm afraid that's the Snake King you're talking about. That loach is really strong. It's in the sovereign realm, but it's not that strong. However, it's still not enough in front of me. If we can capture that little snake, we can extract its bloodline origin to make up for the loss of the Heavenly Lord's origin. The inner core of a sovereign realm Snake King could be refined into a divine origin pill. In this way, it would be of great help to Heavenly Lord Yan Hongwu's origin. Let's go. Okay. Pan and I nodded. However, if there's any danger, we can leave immediately. As for the Heavenly Lord's origin, we can slowly make up for it. There's no need to rush. Pan and I was still a little worried. After all, Yan Hongwu's cultivation was still a little weak. He was only in the Divine Emperor realm, which was lower than her. One had to know that she was already in the late stage of the Emperor realm. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Yan Hanwu gave Pan and I a smile to reassure her. His initial goal was to kill the geniuses of the Iron Mountain City. However, now that he had discovered such a huge secret within the 10,000 Dragon Mountains, his first goal had changed. His plan had changed to killing the Snake King and taking the treasures within the formation. Of course, he would not let go of this spirit vein. After entering the boundary of Myriad Dragon Mountain, Yan Hanwu found a few people. They were all in the early stage of the Emperor realm. 2 of them were young and talented. Those people should be the geniuses of Iron Mountain City, right? Yan Hanwu didn't hide his killing intent. However, he wouldn't expose it now. First, he set up a formation. Silently, Yan Hanwu had already set up a formation. This formation trapped those people and sealed the space. Yan Hanwu didn't want to expose himself. Of course, he couldn't kill them directly. Otherwise, it would attract attention. Therefore, he only destroyed their physical bodies and trapped their souls. Otherwise, Tai Tulong would find out. Once Tai Tulong found out, he would come to Myriad Dragon Mountain. If Shan was here, his plan would fail. That was not a good thing. You guys wait here. I'll deal with those guys. Yan Hanwu said. Master, I'll go with you. Anya Shen said. Yang Hanwu shook his head. There's no need. They're just a few ants. After saying that, Yang Hanwu disappeared on the spot. In the next moment, he appeared in front of those people. Who are you? Tai Hualian's expression changed slightly when he saw the man who suddenly appeared. However, this man was only in the Divine Emperor realm. This made him relax a lot. If an Emperor realm expert suddenly appeared, it would be troublesome. Chapter 1883. Under Yang Hongwu's full power, he destroyed everyone's physical bodies, leaving only their spirits. Their spirits couldn't escape and were captured by Yang Hanwu and sealed in a few soul pearls. Before they could even react, Yang Hanwu had already taken them down. His speed was so fast that it left them speechless. Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Yang Tianjun muttered to himself upon seeing this scene. No, it's the truth. Pan and I was pleasantly surprised. Although she knew that Yang Hanwu could definitely win, she just didn't expect that Yang Hanwu would actually defeat these people so quickly. It really surprised her. Your father is a genius. He can't be compared to ordinary people. Yang Hanwu nodded. He had changed his mind when he heard that Yang Hanwu would help him take over Iron Mountain City and make him the city lord. He didn't think that Yang Hanwu could do it, but now he saw it. The possibility of that happening was very high. Therefore, he was looking forward to seizing the Iron Mountain City. Of course, it was just a little bit of anticipation. One should know that there was a terrifying existence like Tai Tulong in the Iron Mountain City. He was the stabilizing force of the Iron Mountain City. If there was no way to defeat him, they would have to seize the Iron Mountain City. This was something that was almost impossible. There are two more. They aren't weak. Yan Hanwu said. Let's kill those two first, then we'll deal with the Snake King. Where are they? Anya Shen asked. Are they far from here? Not far. Those two guys must have schemed against them. The corners of Yang Hongwu's mouth curled up into a smile. Scheming and scheming against each other existed everywhere. The strength of these people was weaker than the strength of the other two. At that moment, those two fellows were besieging an enormous snake. Although that enormous snake's strength had yet to reach the ruler realm, it was still a peak half-step ruler. It was only a single step away from reaching the ruler realm. As such, it was extremely powerful. Moreover, Yang Hanwu also saw that there was another big snake in the dark. This big snake's strength was slightly weaker than this one, but not by a lot. These two snakes, TSK, they even knew how to scheme. These two guys had been tricked. At this time, although the two of them were suppressing the giant python, they would probably be in trouble after a while. The two of them didn't realize the danger they were in. However, Yang Hanwu was a little surprised. Logically speaking, these two should be geniuses from the lower realm of Iron Mountain City. Moreover, they were extremely talented and should have been valued by Tai Tulong. In fact, Myriad Dragon Mountain was completely under his control. In Tai Tulong's hands, although the two of them would be severely injured, they wouldn't die. However, Yang Hanwu wouldn't give them a chance. He could reap the benefits of the fishermen. Come, let's go find those two. Yang Hanwu said. As for the Snake King, we'll deal with it later. Yang Hanwu removed the formation and led the way. Before long, the four of them arrived at the battlefield of the other two geniuses from Iron Mountain City. With Yang Hongwu's cover, the two geniuses and the two giant snakes wouldn't be able to discover Yang Hanwu. Furthermore, to the Iron Mountain City, the Myriad Dragon Mountain was equivalent to a forbidden area of the Iron Mountain City. Any outsider that entered the Iron Mountain City would be discovered. If an outsider forcefully entered, it would be seen as a provocation to the Iron Mountain City. However, they were too arrogant. They thought that it was impossible for an outsider to enter Myriad Dragon Mountain. At least, that was what Tai Tulong thought. No one would dare to enter Myriad Dragon Mountain. Once someone entered, they would be discovered. They would never have thought that there would be someone like Yang Hanwu who could enter the 10,000 Dragon Mountain without anyone noticing. Of course, if it was someone else, they would have been discovered after entering the Myriad Dragon Mountain, but Yang Hanwu didn't. This was because when he entered the Myriad Dragon Mountain, Yang Hanwu had already used the aura concealing talisman. This aura concealing talisman could perfectly conceal their aura. In addition, for Yang Hanwu, there was no formation or restriction that could stop him. No matter how powerful the formation or restriction was, it was useless. Therefore, Yang Hanwu entered the Myriad Dragon Mountain silently. Tai Ziquang and Tai Xiaoxiao. Pan Ni's eyes flashed coldly. These two bastards were the reason why we were captured. Don't worry, I won't let them go so easily, Yang Hanwu said. After hearing Pan Ni's words, Yang Hanwu didn't plan to kill the two of them so easily. He wanted to teach them a lesson. When they got closer, they saw a supreme divine herb. That's a chaos star flower. How is this possible? Anya Shen's eyes widened in disbelief. Pan and I also took a deep breath. I didn't expect a chaos star flower to appear here. This is too unbelievable. A chaos star flower. Rumor has it that a mature chaos star flower can create a chaos star body. If I can obtain it. Yang Tianjun stared at the chaos star flower, his eyes shining brightly. Clearly, he wanted it very much. This was a chaos star flower. After all, his core essence hadn't recovered yet. If he could obtain this chaos star flower, he could be reborn and create a chaos star body. This chaos star flower isn't mature. In order to make it mature, you need to draw upon the power of the 9 heavenly stars. Yang Hanwu said. If you use an immature chaos star flower, you won't be able to create a complete chaos star body. Therefore, you need to think carefully. Naturally, Yang Hanwu could tell that Yang Tianjun wanted this star flower very much and guessed his intentions. If he didn't create a complete chaos star body right from the start, it wouldn't be easy to complete it in the future. Father, I've thought it through. I want that chaos star flower. Even if it's an incomplete chaos star body, it doesn't matter, Yang Tianjun said firmly. Alright, Yang Hanwu said. I'll definitely get you that chaos star flower. Yang Hanwu was very curious. Chaos star flowers, supreme treasures, and spirit veins. This Myriad Dragon Mountain really wasn't simple. Could it be that this Myriad Dragon Mountain was the same as the Divine Flame Mountain? Currently, Yang Hanwu had reached 3 cities on the Skyspan continent, Flame City, Anya City, and the current Iron Mountain City. Among these 3 cities, there was an ancient mountain within the sphere of influence of Flame City and Iron Mountain City. Both of these mountains contained great benefits. Chapter 1884. However, to Yang Hanwu, whether it was the chaotic star flower or the treasure nourished by the spirit vein within the formation, Yang Hanwu wanted both. If he were to use the spirit vein and the unknown treasure to nourish the chaotic star flower together, would he be able to make the immature chaotic star flower mature? If he could, that would be something to be happy about. After all, although the treasure was good, it was still not as important as his own child. No matter what, Yang Tianjun was his son. How could he refuse if he wanted to use the chaotic star flower to forge the chaotic star body? Even if it was a treasure, it was still much more important than the chaotic star flower. The chaotic star's flower was much more important, and Yang Hanwu would not hesitate to give up on that supreme treasure. Not far away, Tai Xiaoxiao shouted, "Evil creature, die!" With that, Tai Xiaoxiao and Tai Ziquang rushed up at the same time and used their ultimate moves. Powerful energy instantly enveloped the huge python. Bang! With a loud bang, the huge body of the giant python was instantly sent flying. The corners of the two people's mouths curled up into a smile. At this time, behind them, another giant python rushed out in an instant. This giant python opened its mouth and bit one of the people behind it. With a fierce swing of its tail, it sent the other person flying. In that instant, one of them had an arm bitten off, while the other had several bones all over his body broken by the python's tail. Both of them were seriously injured. Tai Xiaoxiao and Tai Ziquang had never imagined that there would be two powerful pythons here. If they had known, they would not have been so careless. The two pythons had actually schemed against them. One of them had attracted their attention, while the other had attacked them from behind at the most crucial moment. That was how the two of them had been seriously injured. Damn it! Are these two animals going to ask the city lord for help? Tai Ziquang and Tai Xiaoxiao's faces contorted as they watched the huge python slowly slithering toward them. The intense pain made the two of them even more furious. However, at this moment, the two of them, but now that they were seriously injured, how could they deal with the two terrifying pythons? If there was only one of them, he might have been able to deal with it. But now, there were two of them, and one of them was completely unharmed. There's no other way. I can only ask the city lord for help. But it's a pity that once the city lord comes, I won't be able to keep the star flower. Tai Xiaoxiao laughed bitterly without end. She'd found such a supreme divine herb with great difficulty, yet never had she imagined that she would still have to give it away. With City Lord Dan's arrival, they wouldn't have a share of this item. But if they didn't ask for help, they would die. With that said, Tai Xiaoxiao took out a talisman. It was a communication talisman, but to her surprise, when she injected her dermic powers into the communication talisman, there was no response at all. Not good, this space has been sealed. Tai Xiaoxiao's expression changed. We're in trouble. These two bastards actually have such a remarkable ability. Hiss. You two damned humans. Today, I'm going to eat you. At this time, a giant python made a sound and opened its huge mouth. Damned beast, if it wasn't for the sneak attack, you wouldn't have been able to defeat us. Tai Ziquang was furious. Bastard, we're both geniuses of Black Mountain City. If you dare to kill us, the city lord will make sure that you die without a burial place. At this time, Yan Hongwu made his move. These two giant pythons should be the Serpent King's subordinates or descendants. But now that this space had been sealed by him, without the Serpent King's instructions, the giant python might really devour the two of them. If they were swallowed alive, their soul jades and Iron Mountain City would definitely shatter, which would attract Tai Tulong's attention. Therefore, they couldn't die yet. At the very least, their souls couldn't be destroyed. That was why Yan Hongwu made his move at this time. With a thought, he instantly appeared behind the giant python. His dermic power condensed into a giant hand that grabbed the python's vital point. Although the two serpents were half-step rulers, they were still serpents. The weakness of serpents was their 7 inches, while the weakness of dragons was their reverse scale. If the two serpents were to evolve, their 7 inches would be the weakest point. Unfortunately, there seemed to be something in the 10,000 Dragon Mountain that was restricting their evolution. Yang Hongwu knew this when he took control of the giant python. Damned human, you actually have helpers. Damn it, damn it. Let me go. The giant python that Yang Hongwu had grabbed by 7 inches of its neck twisted wildly. However, the giant hand that Yang Hongwu had condensed with his magic power firmly held it in place. This giant python. Seal! Yang Hongwu shouted softly. Then, a talisman flew out and sealed the python in an instant. At this moment, the other giant pythons saw that the situation was not good and wanted to escape. Unfortunately, this space had been sealed by him. How could the giant python leave this place? Human, let us go, or our ancestor will not let you go. Our ancestor's strength is at the ruler level. You can't stop him. We are here to protect the Chaos Star Flower under our ancestors' orders. If you don't want to die, let my brother go. Seeing that they couldn't escape, the other giant python transformed into its human form and looked at Yan Hongwu. Brother, leave this place quickly, and I can let bygones be bygones. Brother, don't believe this beast's words. You can't let these two damned worms go. Kill them and we'll split the Chaos Star Flower equally. Tai Ziquang had thought that he was dead for sure, but he hadn't expected that someone else would come. Moreover, this person was very strong. He was so strong that he easily captured one of the giant pythons. As for the other one, it was so scared that it kept retreating. It looked like it was far from being a match for this person. Tai Ziquang and Tai Xiaoxiao both breathed a sigh of relief. At least they didn't have to die. Moreover, they could get a portion of the Chaos Star Flower. Although they could only get a portion, it was still not bad. After all, it was a supreme divine herb. Even if it was a petal, it was still very impressive. At the very least, it could raise their cultivation by 1 level. This was no problem at all. Yang Hanwu looked at Tai Ziquang and Tai Xiaoxiao. These two were really naive. They actually wanted to get the Chaos Star Flower. Shut up, suppress. Yang Hanwu waved his hand and a palace appeared. It was the Destruction Heavenly Palace. The Destruction Heavenly Palace instantly flew towards Tai Ziquang to suppress the two of them. Chapter 1885. Seeing Tai Ziquang and his brother being suppressed, the giant python could not help but laugh out loud. Human, well done. As long as you kill these two and let me go, I will report this to the old ancestor and ask him to reward you handsomely. Tai Ziquang's face was ashen. He did not expect Yang Hanwu to suppress the two of them. Yang Hanwu glanced at them coldly, then extended his hand and grabbed out. He instantly crushed the bodies of Tai Ziquang and Tai Ziquang, reducing them to nothingness. As for their essences, Yang Hanwu used the devouring furnace to devour them. After condensing them into a ball of essences, he activated it. Using the alchemy method, he created a divine pill of origin. At this moment, Tai Ziquang and his brother were only left with their spiritual souls. They were furious, but there was nothing they could do. This man was so terrifying that he directly killed their physical bodies and refined them into divine pills of origin. This man was such a terrifying demon. At this moment, the face of the giant python changed drastically. He did not expect Yang Hanwu to be so domineering. You come here too. Yang Hanwu did not hesitate. This time, he grabbed at the giant python in human form. In the distance, Anya Shenv, Pan and I, and the others were shocked when they saw Yang Hanwu's power. Especially Yang Tianjun, who was simply stunned. Domineering, too domineering. His father was so powerful. Damn it, you want to kill me? You must be dreaming. The angry giant python once again transformed into its original form. It burned its inner core and burst out with a terrifying aura, rushing towards Yang Hanwu. Humph. Yang Hanwu did not care. He snorted coldly. If I want to kill, no one can stop me. Not even Tai Tulong can stop me, let alone your old ancestor. As soon as he finished speaking, his spiritual energy once again condensed into a giant hand. In an instant, it grabbed the giant python's neck. At this moment, its huge body was twisting continuously. Its huge tail whipped the ground, creating huge pits and crushing huge rocks. However, in front of Yang Hongwu's giant hand, it could not withstand a single blow. No matter how it twisted and struggled, it could not escape. Devouring Furnace. After Yang Hanwu took control of the python, he summoned the devouring furnace. The python knew that it was in trouble. It struggled madly, trying to escape from Yang Hongwu's control. However, the devouring furnace was too powerful. It even erupted with a terrifying devouring power. Coupled with the suppression of Yang Hongwu's mana giant hand, it couldn't escape at all. It didn't even have a chance of survival. He was instantly dragged into the devouring furnace. Damn it, damn it. No matter how hard it struggled, it couldn't escape the fate of entering the devouring furnace. Not only that, Yang Hanwu also threw in the other python that was already under his control. At this time, the bodies of the two pythons were swallowed. The devouring furnace was refining crazily. Damned human, I won't let you off, won't let me go? Yang Hanwu sneered. I don't want to let him go. This time, he had come to the Myriad Dragon Mountains for the Snake King. How could he let him go? Furthermore, Yang Hanwu knew that since this place was called the Myriad Dragon Mountains, it would be a very good choice to kill some of the powerful snake-type exotic beasts in the mountains. This was just a precaution. In fact, Yang Hanwu only needed to set up an isolation array. He didn't need to worry at all. However, it was always right to be careful. After Yang Hanwu refined the origin of the two pythons' bodies, he left behind two inner cores. These inner cores were refined into Origin Divine Pills. This way, he had already obtained two Origin Divine Pills. Yang Hanwu gave these two Origin Divine Pills to his son, Yang Tianjun. Although these two Origin Divine Pills could help Yang Tianjun recover a little, it was impossible for him to fully recover in a short time. After all, if a cultivator's bloodline source was extracted, it would not be easy to recover it. After killing the two people and the two giant pythons, Yang Hanwu prepared to pluck the chaotic star flower. I'm going to pluck the chaotic star flower, Yang Hanwu told them. Husband, wait a moment. Pan and I stopped him. Plucking the chaotic star flower requires special tools. Ordinary tools won't be able to dig it up. Yang Hanwu didn't quite believe her. What kind of tools do you need? Jade. It's best if it's star jade. Otherwise, it won't be able to dig it up at all. Plus, it's easy to damage the chaotic star flower, Pan and I said. Hearing this, Yang Hanwu frowned slightly and said, I do have top-grade jade, but if it is star jade, there is no way to get it now. I have it here, Anya Shen said. Take a look at this star jade. Will it do? At this moment, the goddess of the dark night took out a jade stone. This jade stone contained a vast amount of star energy. This was the special characteristic of the star jade. Yes, that's the star jade, Pan and I said. Husband, you can refine this star jade into a small herb hoe. It'll be even better if you carve some runes on it. Yang Hanwu nodded and took the star jade. With a thought, a ball of flame appeared in his right palm. This was the divine fire. Yang Hanwu used this ball of flame to refine the herb hoe. Soon, the star jade turned into jade under the heat of the divine fire. Liquid. Next, Yang Hanwu used his consciousness to control the liquid jade into the shape of a small herb hoe. He then carved runes on it. Before long, the herb hoe was successfully refined. The moment the herb hoe was successfully refined, the star power in the void was drawn down by Yang Hanwu. Then, tribulation clouds appeared. The lightning tribulation of the herb hoe was about to descend. Seeing this, Anya Shen wasn't surprised. Pan and I was the same. She knew that Yang Hanwu knew how to refine weapons, but Yang Tianjun didn't. He was shocked to see that Yang Hanwu's herb hoe had attracted lightning tribulation. Ordinary blacksmiths wouldn't be able to attract lightning tribulation. Yang Hanwu didn't even try to dodge as he allowed the thunder calamity to land on his body. The power of the thunder calamity was too weak for Yang Hanwu, and it wasn't even worth mentioning. This scene made Yang Tianjun's eyes widen. His father was actually resisting it with his physical body. Lightning tribulation. In fact, Yang Hanwu was also surprised. After all, he had set up a formation to isolate this place from the outside world. He was surprised that lightning tribulation could still be attracted. All right. After Yang Hanwu finished refining, he took the herb hoe refined from the star jade and walked towards the chaos star flower. Using the herb hoe, Yang Hanwu didn't have an easy time digging up the chaos star flower. Under the chaos star flower was a piece of jade. This piece of jade was incomparably hard. What surprised Yang Hanwu was that it contained boundless star power and chaos. Chapter 1886. Yang Hanwu was overjoyed to have obtained the star flower. Pan and I and Yang Tianjun were even happier. Yang Hanwu jumped up and landed next to Pan and I. He looked at Yang Tianjun and said, "The star flower has been dug out, but now is not the time to reforge your saint body. There is a spirit vein in the myriad dragon mountains. Perhaps you can borrow the power of this spirit vein. Let the star flower mature more quickly. It will be good for you. Really? Pan and I was pleasantly surprised. If it was true, it would be great. After all, the star flower was far from mature. It would be impossible to use it to forge a chaotic star body. At most, it would be an ordinary astral body. It was impossible to forge a chaotic star body. One was an astral body, while the other was a chaotic star body. The difference between the two was huge. Father, I will listen to you. Yang Tianjun nodded. Of course, he didn't want to forge a chaotic star body. A half-baked chaotic star body was much weaker than a complete chaotic star body. He wasn't in a hurry anyway. If we can forge a complete chaotic star body, we won't have to take the risk to seize the Iron Mountain City, said Pan and I. After all, the late-stage sovereign realm expert in the Iron Mountain City was too terrifying. Therefore, Pan and I didn't want Yang Hanwu to take the risk. It wasn't easy for her to see Yang Hanwu again. She didn't want to be separated from him. She didn't want anything to happen to Yang Hanwu either. That's not a problem. Yang Hanwu smiled faintly. If we are going to seize the spirit vein, we will have to kill the Serpent King. The Serpent King should be Tai Tulong's battle pet. There is a supreme treasure in the spirit vein that Tai Tulong values. It should be of utmost importance to him. If we kill the Serpent King and seize the treasure, we will become enemies with Tai Tulong. It will be an irreconcilable grudge. Therefore, either he dies or we die. There are other possibilities. Pan and I heard this and frowned. However, the enemy is too powerful. We don't have a single ruler with us. This is too risky. Although Pan and I knew that Yang Hanwu could challenge those above his level, his strength was too strong. If they were still in Iron Mountain City, if he did, his strength would be even more terrifying. He would be able to contend against a peak sovereign martial artist. How could Pan and I not be worried when faced with such a huge difference in strength? Don't worry. Since I dare to do this, I have enough confidence. Even if I don't succeed, I can freely retreat, Yang Hanwu said with a smile. There is a way out. He can't deal with me. Pan and I didn't say anything more after hearing Yang Hanwu's words. On the other hand, Yang Tianjun was impressed by his father's confidence. He was only a divine emperor, but he dared to challenge a sovereign. A late-stage expert making a move was indeed too powerful and admirable. Such a person was either a madman or a peerless monster. Clearly, his father belonged to the latter category. After Yang Hanwu stored the Chaos Star Flower in his divine palace, he quickly arrived at the formation on the main peak of Myriad Dragon Mountain. Wait for me outside. I'll go in and kill the Snake King, Yang Hanwu said to Pan and I and the others. Husband, I'll go in with you, Pan and I said worriedly. No need. You're not strong enough. Yang Hanwu shook his head. You won't be able to help me much. Instead, you'll distract me. But, Sister Pan, don't worry. I believe the young master is confident. We'll just wait for him here, Anya Shen said as he held Pan Ni's hand. Yes, Mother. Father is definitely confident. Yang Tianjun was full of admiration for Yang Hanwu. He had full confidence in him. After saying that, Yang Hanwu entered the formation with a thought. Outside, Yang Hanwu had set up a great formation. This great formation could isolate the outside world and seal off the space. One reason was to protect Pan and I, Anya Shen and the others. The other reason was to prevent the Snake King from sending a message to Tai Tulong. If Tai Tulong rushed over at this time, all his plans would be for naught. Therefore, Yang Hanwu was prepared to end the battle quickly. He couldn't give the Snake King or Tai Tulong any chance. If the Snake King was killed and Tai Tulong's supreme treasure was taken away by him, Iron Mountain City's fortune would be greatly damaged. When that happened, he would wipe out all the geniuses of Iron Mountain City. That would be a huge blow to Tai Tulong. That would be when Tai Tulong was at his weakest. Then, he would set up a great formation to deal with Tai Tulong. He would definitely be able to kill him in one fell swoop. Who dares to barge into Myriad Dragon Mountain? The moment Yang Hongwu entered the formation, the Snake King sensed it and stared at Yang Hongwu's position. This surprised Yang Hongwu. This Snake King wasn't simple. He was discovered the moment he entered the formation. One should know that he had concealed his aura. It seemed like Tai Tulong wasn't that easy to deal with. He had underestimated the Snake King. "I'm here to kill you." Yang Hongwu's figure appeared and looked at the Snake King in front of him. It was a huge black snake, and the scales on its body shone brightly. On its huge head, a pair of cold eyes appeared as it stared at Yang Hongwu. "Human ant, you want to kill me? What arrogance!" The Snake King wasn't angry at Yang Hongwu's words. Instead, he stared at Yang Hongwu and said, Snake King didn't dare to act rashly. He didn't believe that a divine emperor warrior could enter the formation without making a sound. There must be someone behind him. This human was just a bait. If he acted rashly, the person behind him wouldn't be able to escape. If he acted rashly, he would definitely ambush him. The Snake King had lived for countless years. As a sovereign, he was as cunning as a fox. His intelligence couldn't be underestimated. He was extremely cautious. Yang Hongwu was a little surprised to see that the Snake King didn't attack him directly. This Snake King was really cautious. If it were any other exotic beast, it would have already rushed up and attacked him. "You're not qualified. Ask the person behind you to come out." The Snake King secretly contacted Tai Tulong. That thing was extremely important to Tai Tulong. He didn't dare to be careless. Therefore, when Yang Hongwu appeared, the Snake King immediately attacked. You're tuning into the Mythic Realms YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.